All right, let's make sure everybody can actually be heard. There we go. Try it one more time.
We good now?
Testing, testing.
All right, now I got sound
Hello, everybody.
Hooray.
Hello
That's
there
one,
in
two, three.
Twitch TV land. This is Star Trek Europa. Before we get going, I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to introduce themselves one more time and a chance to tell everybody what they're doing. Let's start with Brian. Want to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and if you have anything you want to pimp out.
Hello, my name is Brian. He, him. I am playing Jorad Hage, and I'm not doing anything else for public consumption.
Okay. Next.
I'm John, also he, him. I'm playing Kasidy and nothing else in public.
Okay. Ev, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Evelyn Corbin playing Kasidy Yates-Sisko. I also have nothing else for the publics.
Right.
Okay, I'm the only busybody. Hello, everybody. I'm Jack, also he, him. Also known as like near levels on various places. I'm getting into the streaming game. I got a bunch of different stuff going on. Obviously, I have this right now. Super excited for this game where I play Commander Aurani Ambrose. Really excited for today. Tomorrow, Wednesdays, you can catch me over with ELHMK1 on his Twitch stream playing some Cyberpunk Red. That starts around 8 o'clock. I'm a net runner in that. That's super fun. And then my personal game that I DM myself is Dungeons and Dragons game called The People's Ascension. You can find us over at twitch.tv/The People's Ascension. And that's been going on for a while, but we're just about to introduce our next main campaign arc. So if you want some fantasy to go along with this utopian sci-fi, head over Saturdays at 2 o'clock and you can find me there.
Nice. I am your host, as always, Dr. RPG Jeff Harvey. This is the one stream that I currently do for gaming. We also have, if you follow the Studio Tembo at Twitch, I've got some other games that I do that are just video games, and of course STA Engage. Yeah, this episode we are going to do we're going to do what we do. Let's go ahead and do a recap, though. I think anybody that wants to do a recap from last episode, what do you remember?
Well, lots of things had happened. The USS Europa was officially launched on its first mission. A good portion of our crew is taking it for its inaugural run to Bajor, where our hopes are that we can quell the discontent in the Bajor system enough that maybe we can finally push Bajor over the line and get them as part of the Federation. Meanwhile, some other members of our crew were asked to investigate possible disturbances being done and keep an eye on the first and second ministers who are on the station. We ended after a small riot broke out on Deep Space Nine, and we, after a brief scuffle, we are trying to figure out who might be responsible.
Right. Anybody else got anything you want to add to that? No?
No, I think that about covers it. There was the maybe John can remind me, the inoculation we did.
Yes.
Do you remember what that fake outbreak was? Some kind of bird flu. I'm forgetting the
Rigelian bird flu.
Rigelian
Yes.
bird flu. That's it. That was fantastic.
First Minister
I had to write
Shakar
that
was
down.
acting a little hinky, and we thought we might want to get some good scans, which we didn't end up doing, but we did run a good scam on the ministers and got for fake inoculations.
Nice.
Yeah, and use that to split them up. Ambrose was able to have a fairly meaningful conversation with Second Minister Asarum, and set up a sort of what do you want to call it?
Dinner.
Yeah, dinner. Sure, just dinner. And yeah, the only other, what was that quote during the fight? Yes, as the fight broke out, one of them shouted, "Avatar of Peace, Valhalla," which I'm sure is never going to come up again. So
Never.
we don't
Never,
need to worry
ever.
about that.
Yeah. I threw myself into a corner with that one. So,
Mm.
Oh, forget I said anything.
right. No one can
Never
go back and
mind.
watch that episode, so no one will know. All right, let's go ahead and do the intro roll, and then we'll come back into some story. All right, that's it. We're back. Put this thing on this mode here. All right, that's it. That's all I got to do. I don't need to look at that anymore. So we left off with the crew on DS9. There had just been a fight. And everyone had kind of settled their things together. I forgot to make a note of who the head of security was for DS9 last episode. I do not have an image, but I believe everyone knows, per the books, the character of Rolaren, who is the current head of security aboard DS9. I had to look that up, but that is what it is per the books. So, with that in mind, she is actually a Bajoran liaison, Bajoran, and not a Starfleet officer. The Starfleet officer that you talked to, though, is still quite influential, and we'll just use him as an example going forward. And I did not name him, which I will when you guys get a chance to meet him again.
So the person that Ambrose met with, who gave him this sort of unofficial job,
It's
that
still-
was somebody else. That was not
Not the head of, not the
Ro.
official head of of security on the station, but the head of the Starfleet branch of security aboard the station. And Ro would be the actual official head, and we're going to say that he is Commander Edwin. Would be the commander that you spoke with. With that in mind, that's the only thing I think I didn't get done right last time. One of the many things I didn't get right done that I'm going to admit to. So when we start out this session, we are on DS9 to start with. Commander Ambrose and company. I believe that everyone should be involved here. I'm probably having a meeting in one of the conference rooms that they can all get caught up and know what has happened, what information they have, and that kind of thing, so that we can move people forward and decide where to go from there. Also, we can introduce everyone to everyone, which would be nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do we want to go around the table and
Sure. So let me set the scene a little better. We're in one of the conference rooms on DS9. It's one of the outer ring, on the outer, not the habitat ring, but the outer part of the central ring of the station. So we've got the big windows that you can see, the big oval eye-shaped windows. The table is long and partially curved like anything Cardassian. It is a standard conference room beyond that. Like, there is a display screen. There are beverages served by Quarks at the expense of, Starfleet or whomever. So everyone's sitting on the table, and Commander Ambrose, you are sitting at the head of the table. Anyone who wants to take the lead, go ahead.
Who else is here? The Europa hasn't arrived yet, right?
The Europa has not yet
Correct.
arrived, although you have been told that it will be arriving soon. So it is just the 4 people that were on the station, the 4 Starfleet officers that were on the station, who are going to be on the Europa going forward.
if you don't remember who that is, we can go around and
Yeah, we'll go through and introduce them again too. So it should be Ambrose, Well, go ahead and introduce which characters you guys are playing. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So at the head of this conference table is Commander Aurani Ambrose. He is, well, we actually have a picture of him if you want to throw that up, but it is labeled up there over the dice feed. Yeah, Aurani Ambrose is a human, Starfleet commander, a veteran of quite a few conflicts. He's in his mid-30s or so, so he's been through the Borg conflict with Wolf 359. He's fought through the entirety of the Dominion War. He was captured and held at one of those deep asteroid prisons. And yeah, just finished some rehab, and he's getting back on his first real assignment with the Europa after all of that nonsense. Yeah, he is for the most part human. The only distinguishing feature he would have otherwise is just a very slight indentation at the top of his nose ridge, and a slight dimple near the top ends of his eyebrows. So extra points for anyone in the audience who can pick out what obscure race he is part of. Yeah, so he's at the head of this table, and I suppose looking around, probably immediately to his left, kind of his second in command here, as it would be, would probably be Dr. Marr.
Dr. Marr is a Vulcan of early middle age, long, shiny black hair, rather slender and delicately built. Dr. Marr is a senior chief because they were a civilian doctor in private practice on Vulcan until the Dominion War broke out, and they volunteered to serve as a combat medic, thinking that as someone who'd been through the process of Kolinar, they might handle the strains of battle more than a lot of other members of other species, and has served with with Commander Ambrose through the war, and is willing to fight, but definitely a pacifist and very, very graceful in their movements, and doesn't admit to it, but has clearly studied some sort of martial art in great detail, and it's evident in the way they move and carry themselves.
Elizabeth?
Well, I think next to his left is a rather lanky-looking Trill woman with her long blonde hair bound into a messy bun. She looks nervous and like she's about to, she wants to melt into the wall behind her. But it is Yezabeth Chirika, and she is this is her first posting in Starfleet, and she's ready to help however she can.
All right, last one.
You said you're sitting next to Mars left, or to?
Yeah, I figured we were going counterclockwise.
Okay. So sitting next to Ambrose's left, Fiona would have set herself up there, is a woman about 25-ish, stocky build with short cropped red hair. She's got the lieutenant junior grade, if I remember right, pips. She's been on DS9 for a couple of years now. She's not quite a seasoned officer, but she's been around long enough. She knows the ropes and is comfortable on the station.
And you never got me a picture for this one, right?
No, last week was a little rough, so
Yeah.
I did not do most of any.
We'll have that picture later. So, yeah, you guys are sitting around there. You basically, the meeting is here for everyone to get caught up and introduced to each other. Since this is the Europa's crew, the Europa is on the way, should be here shortly. And there is obviously something going on that the Starfleet may need, that the other members of the team here may need help with. So anyone wants to share, now is a good time to get into the discussion of what happened last time, betwixt the players.
Ensign Suchera, how are your hands doing?
Fine. Minor burns, but nothing nothing you weren't able to fix.
That is good to hear.
Oops.
Everyone else is doing all right. I think that incident was solved fairly quickly.
Indeed, I had heard the scuffle and barely made it to the back of the crowd before you had it, before your miraculous leap from the catwalk and the ensign's quick thinking got the shields up.
I still can't believe I forgot to turn off the anti-tampering system.
We forget the simplest things under stress.
I'm rather more concerned with deadly weapons in the hands of persons on the station.
Commander, what was it exactly we were asked to do by the station security?
Well, I suppose cat's out of the bag at this point. All of this, from what I understand, is unofficial. But the Starfleet security liaison here at the station wanted me to look after the first and second minister and I suppose ascertain where their headspace was and what may have prompted their recent change of heart. Shakar, over the last 5 months on this tour of Federation worlds, has been slowly becoming more and more disillusioned, which I find rather odd, as he was initially quite a proponent for joining the Federation. And while I will admit Starfleet is rebuilding after all of these crises, I would doubt he should have any reason for his current state. Almost contradictory, the second minister, Asaram, was previously against this whole situation and is now much more hopeful. I had a rather nice conversation with her before this incident. So I suppose going forward, at least until the Europa arrives after that, I don't know if we will be staying on for this particular assignment, but until the Europa arrives, I'd like to see how we all work together and see if we can figure out if there's anything unusual going on with the first and second ministers.
The first minister did express feeling unusually tired, but otherwise asymptomatic, and refused further treatment, though I offered it to him. It's impossible at this point to say if there is anything physiological in play.
Likewise, the second minister did sort of offhandedly mention a slight concern about Shakar's recent change of attitude, but was either unwilling or unable to really nail down any symptoms, any causes.
I see. Has anybody spoken with him directly about this?
When I examined him, a cursory examination indicated nothing other than mild exhaustion. He did indicate further concerns about his health, but refused to pursue anything further and departed for, as he claimed, to rest. And that was the extent of my interaction with him.
Sure, but I meant about his change of heart. Has anybody just asked him?
Not so forthright, no, but we do have a sort of dinner party, I believe tomorrow evening, once they're all set in, that would be a good time to mingle, get the gossip.
Do we know where the Kai and the Vedic sit, and have they changed their minds recently?
Has there been a newly appointed Kai?
There has not.
My internal Bajoran politics is a little rusty, but everything is in a sort of state of upheaval. There really isn't a Kai right now, and I'm not sure the Vedic Assembly is all that well put together either.
You'll recall that after the Enterprise E discovered the Orb of Memory, and Kira, at the time, Colonel Kira, released the Ohala's prophecies to the Bajoran Comnet. It caused a great deal of upheaval in the Bajoran religious community as a whole, and it has caused a regression of the Vedic Assembly. They've become paralyzed when trying to choose a new Kai. After the orb was presented by the Enterprise to Shakar, and he's recently brought it back, was around the time that he began having a change. So once the orb was discovered, was when he began to have his varied thoughts on the process.
Well, it seems fairly likely that the orb influenced him somehow.
They do tend to do that.
Indeed.
From what I understand, it's a very personal journey.
I find the concept fascinating. I might be able to pursue a neutral conversation with him about comparative mysticism in Vulcan and Bajoran culture and draw him out in a less challenging way than questioning his politics.
Maybe the orbs emit some kind of radiation that continues to, there must be a scientific explanation for the influence they have. Perhaps there's some kind of radiation that might be affecting him that we might be able to detect.
I believe there's been some minor scientific revelations over the past few years in that regards, but it's still largely a mystery. You could ask Sisko if you ever see him again.
All right, never mind. Forget I said anything.
No, it's a very alien phenomenon. But you're right. There is likely some sort of outside influence. It's just whether that influence is over and Shakar is dealing with it internally, or if there's something else going on. I mean, these orbs have done all kinds of crazy things, shown visions. I think one of them even sent somebody back in time or forward. I try to stay away from all that temporal. I really don't want any of that. We'll keep that side of Starfleet back on Earth. But
right.
I suppose there's a whole contingent of Starfleet diplomats here exactly for this express overt purpose. That's certainly not my position. I don't think that's any of our forte.
Certainly not mine.
I do like the doctor's idea. And I think during this dinner party that we have, if you can get him thinking in certain directions, we both may be able to ascertain where his head is at a bit more.
I can certainly try, Commander.
As for the other two of you, I honestly wasn't aware about bringing you into this investigation. I figured we would meet shipboard. But since you're here and involved, I definitely welcome your input.
Always happy to help, sir.
I suppose we could certainly use another security officer for such a dinner party.
Especially for expecting war insurgents.
Right.
suppose insurgents is technically the right word. Dissidents.
I mean, I completely understand if you don't want me to come to this high state dinner. I'm just an ensign. Perhaps instead I can ask around about this avatar of peace.
If you think that's where you'll be most useful, that's definitely an avenue we could go down. Maybe there's something you could use your technical skills on.
Well, I could look at the records of orb influence to see if I can find any commonalities. Maybe we can detect something on the station.
Maybe take a look at their shuttle as well if it's still docked. I don't know if that's... Maybe look into what ship or ships they use during this tour of Federation space. See if you can find any abnormalities.
All right. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. On that, we will head back to the Europa for a few minutes. You've gotten a call, Captain, from Starfleet in the general vicinity of DS9 to let you know that there has been an incident and that tensions are escalating on the station. Also, it appears as though the wife of a former, well, now missing Starfleet officer, one Yates, has been she has been reported as missing from her home on Bajor in the last 12 hours or so, and that's something that they would like you to look into as a favor to the Starfleet command. In addition to that, you've also been told that it seems as though as the Defiant has been is now out of contact and has been out of contact for some time, and we are not certain that we're going to hear from them anytime soon. But a ship will be dispatched to look for them in the Gamma Quadrant, just to keep you appraised of the situation. Anything you wish to do with that new information?
No, I mean, I'll brief the senior officers about this, so that way they're aware of the situation. I think he'll make the offhand comment, investigate a disappearance, make peace with Bajor, and maybe if there's time after dinner, solve the board crisis.
Right, exactly. Does anybody else have anything they want to do on the Europa?
Cass wouldn't mind a little time with Ava.
Okay.
So, Lieutenant Castrian, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Lieutenant Castrianeth is the Andorian science officer. She's in her late 20s, tallish, rather thin, long silver hair, rather high energy, given to geeking out, a bit of a gossip, really curious about her crewmates, as part of just sort of, there's a line between anthropological studies and gossip, and Kaz sometimes crosses it without really noticing it. And her chief duty right now is to work with the brand new AI just installed on the ship. And it's only been active for a couple days on the journey out.
Yep. I don't think I have a picture of that character, but you can see the character in the corner there, and I will try to get one for next time. So you are in the, assuming since we interacted with her last time in the library room, the library access room. I assume that is probably what will be this time as well. There we are. You said you wanted to speak with Ava, right? That's what you said?
Yes.
Yep.
Good morning, Ava. How are you doing today?
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am quite well. Thank you.
I'm glad to hear that. Anything interesting going on with the ship, or anything that you've discovered new in your interactions with, I guess, your new body, really?
I have found getting used to the Europa systems to be quite entertaining. The ship is quite efficient.
I'm glad to hear that. Um, can I ask how exactly are you perceiving the ship's systems? Is it registering as a physical body, or is it just an input of data without any sort of somatic component to it? What does it feel like being a starship?
That is a difficult question to answer without outside comparison. However, the ship does contain bioneural packs, and so that integrate with my positronic systems. So I would say that the sensations that I feel are somewhat akin to sensory organs.
That is fascinating. So you would feel radiation on the hull, like sunlight on a being's skin. Oh, wow. That's that's this is going to be a really interesting trip, Ava. I'm looking forward to watching you figure out who you are, and so maybe we can find some way of communicating what it's like to each other to be such very different sorts of beings.
With that in mind, Lieutenant, I would wonder, who do you think would be a good example to observe aboard this vessel to learn the duties of a Starfleet officer?
Ah, well, that's the thing about the Europa is it looks like we're going to have a little bit of everything, and a really diverse group from a lot of different species and a lot of very different styles of being an officer. Um, the captain is a marvelous example, and it sounds like our new first officer is going to be very, very different. So you'll have quite a number of data points to try to form a composite image out of.
I look forward to the experience. The Europa does seem to have, per records, a abnormally diverse crew.
It does, and I think you're going to find that input particularly useful. Um, you're going to be figuring out just who and what you are, and having more than one, having so many different ways of being to examine, I think might enrich that experience of discovery for you.
I am looking forward to it. As there are no other artificial life forms aboard this ship. Well, not really.
Not really, no. I mean, the EMH, but
They are substantially lesser. Are there any other artificial intelligences in Starfleet? So far as I have been aware, I am the only ship equipped with such a system.
you are the only one, and hopefully the first of many. There's of course Commander Data from the Enterprise, different sort of artificial intelligence, but one fully embodied. Well, you're fully embodied. You're just larger. So you probably are quite a bit alike.
Dr. Maddox has told me that my matrix is designed after that of the Sung-type androids.
Data has served successfully in Starfleet for decades and has been an exemplary officer, and I understand a beloved member of his ship's crew. So it's a good model to build on.
I will endeavor to look farther into his record. Thank you, Lieutenant.
My pleasure, Eva.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Oh, not now, I don't think, but if anything you find interesting that you want to share comes along, call me anytime. I'm here to aid in your journey of discovery as much as you're here to aid in ours. So please make use of me.
I look forward to further conversations, Lieutenant. Thank you. Anyone else have anything aboard the Europa, or we jump back to DS9?
I think I've got a good idea for an away team to go to Bajor to investigate the disappearance of Yates.
Okay.
I'm thinking Desavi, Cass, Jisa, as well as Kova. Is everybody cool with that?
Sure. Good with that.
Sure.
I'll have to get those again to see, make sure I have any images that I don't currently have.
I'll type it in the chat so that way.
Yeah, I added a couple more images, but I didn't get a chance to name them, so I can't tell what they are off the top of my head. Jumping back to DS9, I believe that someone was going to begin their investigation into things, or were you going to wait until the next night to do that? When during the dinner.
I mean, I put a lot on my plate. I think Yezebeth would definitely ask Fiona for help talking to the Bajorans because she's not great with people and she could use a friend.
Sure.
So, I thought we could just, go to the Bajoran temple and maybe ask about this avatar. Somebody's got to know something.
It's worth a shot. I don't know if such a direct approach is necessarily best, especially if this avatar is part of a dissident group.
Well, at least we can find out what it is, even if it's a dissident group. There's got to be somebody who doesn't like him if he's
Right.
part of a dissident group, and they might be able to give us at least something to go on.
Sure.
Okay, so you're going to head to the Bajoran Temple?
Yeah.
Okay. When you arrive at the Bajoran Temple, there are quite a few people on the outside who are offering the standard prayers and offerings and things like that, the incense burnings and stuff like that for during times of crisis. But inside the temple, there are very few people. There's a couple of Vedics who are standing out, not Vedics, but Prylars who are standing outside of the temple and only allowing people in on a limited basis. However, being Starfleet, if you would like to enter, they are more than happy to have you in because it shows a measure of peace between the two people. So you can head right on in if you want.
I actually think we could probably talk to people waiting outside. If there's a line to get in,
Sure.
We can just talk to them outside. That way we don't have to disrupt anything.
Sure. Yep. There's a line of people outside, and there are two Prylars at the door. So Prylars being one of the lower levels of monks in the orders.
Okay. Perfect. Do you want to role play us out talking to people, or do you
Sure.
want to do it as like a general thing?
No, we can totally role play a little bit if you want.
Okay. Yezebeth will. She's going to get cold feet as she's like looking at the groups of people. This was her idea, but now that it's come up, she says, "What do you think? You do the talking, and I will stand here and be ready to jump in at a moment's notice."
This night might not end well. Diplomacy is not my strong suit.
Well, it's not.
I'll try.
But...
As you approach one of the Bajorans, they turn. It's a middle-aged man, slender build. His clothing is not disheveled, but definitely heavily worn. He is clearly someone who toils for a living, and he turns and looks at the two of you as you approach, and there's a look of, I wouldn't say disdain on his face, but definitely if he could cross the street and walk, he would, kind of thing, except he's standing in line, so he can't go anywhere. But he was doing a little bit of chanting before he came up, and he has one of the incense burning sticks in his hand as you approach. He just kind of gets this cocked back head look at you.
Mills just kind of like tosses him a glance that says, like, I don't want to fight you, but I will if I have to.
He doesn't look like he's got any kind of like aggressive intentions
Okay.
so much as a systemic discomfort.
In that case, she would probably kind of cast a glance at him and maybe skirt around him.
Sure. Okay.
She'll kind of, in a slightly louder than normal conversorial tone, say, "Hey, Esbeth, have you heard of this avatar of peace the Bajorans are talking about?"
Yeah, one of their goons came up and pushed and grabbed me the other day.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I thought Bajorans were all about peace, but here I am being tossed around.
The
I thought
group
so too.
the group as a whole has stopped chanting and is now looking at you. The gentleman that first eyed you kind of gives you a grizzled old man kind of stare, like a get off my lawn kind of stare, and sidles up to you a little bit. What do you want to know, Starfleet, about the Avatar of Peace?
Well,
What?
I guess for starters, why they're acting a little less than peaceful.
The Avatar of Peace isn't acting anyway. The Avatar of Peace isn't born yet.
Huh.
So why are people acting on his behalf then?
Acting to stop him. The Avatar of Peace is an omen. A bad omen.
I see.
The Cardassians, they promised peace. The Federation promises peace. And here this Avatar is born of humans? I don't think Bajor can withstand another time of peace.
Well, I
They're
mean,
not exactly the Cardassians.
Trill's been pretty peaceful and it's worked out for us.
The Federation
In fact,
came
if it
here.
weren't for us,
There would never have been a
Probably the-
Dominion.
there would have been a Dominion regardless.
They would have stayed on their side of the Celestial Temple and left us alone as they had for millennia. It was Starfleet and the Federation that brought them here. It was Starfleet and the Federation that brought war and destruction to this galaxy.
Starfleet that kept the Cardassians from your door, too.
I don't remember reading about this in any of my religious studies courses. Is this a new prophecy that's been going around, or did I just miss something?
They come from the Ohala's prophecies.
The ones released by Major Kira. Colonel.
Yes, but she gave us the truth, and it would be the Vedics and Starfleet who would keep us from it. That was a very Klingon Starfleet. Starfleet.
I mean, it sounds like a slightly Klingon Bajoran.
We played Klingons last night. I can't help it. Anyways, yes, he says Starfleet would keep us from the truth. Kira gave us what is right.
Well,
Why would Starfleet keep you from the truth?
Because it is against your own interests. The same as any other foreign power meddling in Bajor's affairs. You're no different than the Cardassians. You just have smaller spoons.
And less slavery.
For now.
When has Starfleet ever enslaved anyone?
There's cultural enslavement as much as there is physical enslavement.
Look, nobody wants to enslave anybody. We're just trying to figure out what Bajor wants and to help them get it. That's it.
Bajor wants to be free. A free Bajor. That is what we want, and that is what the Avatar of Peace will deny us. Your presence, your joining of your Federation. He kind of growls and, sort of bites down, obviously saying something even worse.
Well, look, I'm not human, so I can't be the avatar of peace. So let me tell you, when I want peace, it's just because it's easier for everybody, including Bajor. You know, the Dominion didn't want peace from Bajor; they wanted compliance. That's not the same thing as peace.
Yeah. The Federation has always been good at talking, hasn't it?
Well,
Our strong
at least
suits.
until I joined.
You're doing fine.
Away with you, Federation dogs. You're not of any... You'll find no allies here. And he kind of gives you a gesture of shoo.
Yeah.
Good luck with your prayers. Sorry to disturb you.
Don't call us next time some galactic superpower comes knocking at your door. And Mills will turn around and walk away.
Well, that's certainly interesting. I think we need to know more about what these scrolls say. I can put in some research and see if I can find out anything that might help our cause.
Yeah. I mean, Kira released them to the Hollow. They should still be... They weren't taken down, right?
No, they should still be up.
Yeah, I'll take a look at them tonight and see what I can find out. I'm good at research. That I can do.
All right. I'll report back to the commander and give him this information.
Thanks for helping me out. I don't know if I would have had the guts to talk to them on my own.
No problem. Help out our fellow members, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, apparently enslave them.
Well, you know,
Rolls her eyes.
whatever we feel like, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. I say if the Bajorans don't want us, hell with it. Leave them to their own devices and they'll figure it out the next version of the Cardassians that comes along.
Well, I think we can at least differentiate ourselves from the Cardassians. I think no matter how bad
by
we are,
far.
we can do that at least.
That's
I don't like
one
the
hell
idea.
of an insult.
You know, when I put on this uniform, I definitely didn't want people to think of me as an oppressor. Kind of stings that they do.
Either, and to an extent, I understand. The Bajorans lived under Cardassian rule for a long time, and it's a very dark place in their history. But to compare us to the Cardassians and to compare us to the Dominion is, after all we've done for them, it's a slap in the face.
Well,
Don't want our help? We don't have to help.
Try not to take things too personally. I think maybe they just don't like change. I know how that is.
There's not liking change, and then there's spitting in the face of somebody who's helped you.
So you head back to inform Commander Ambrose of the information that you've discovered. You find, I would assume, and let me know if I'm wrong, but I would assume that Ambrose is probably beginning to oversee some of the setup for the dinner that he coordinated, which will be tomorrow, obviously still, but you can have a chance to find him there and see if there's any. It's up to you guys if you want to just fill him in and move on, or if you want to actually have the role play to fill him in at all.
I think we can just fill in.
Yeah.
Okay.
With that.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else they want to do at the moment? You were going to head to do some research?
Yeah, I'll get doing that research if that's okay.
Yeah. Give me a. Let's see. So first of all, what exactly are you researching? You're going to look into the prophecies of Ohala?
Yes.
Halu?
Specifically, like science skill lets me like ask questions.
Sure.
So I'd like to ask questions regarding the prophecy of Valhalla.
All right.
Upon researching it.
Sure. Give me a control and science roll, since you're going through a lot of data.
Okay. Control, not reason.
Because you're not creating, I think, because you're going through already prescribed data. We could do. I mean, if you could tell me why reason would work better, I'm fine with reason.
No, that just seemed more intuitive to me, but I can go with control.
Okay.
And
then computer systems, if you have that, would be a good one.
I've got research, so
yeah, I'll take that one. That'll work too.
Okay. I got a 4 and a 19. That is 2 successes.
Okay. So you can find information pretty easy. That'll give you two momentum to spend on learning more.
Okay. The first thing I want to know is, is the avatar piece specifically a human, according to the prophecies?
No. What you find really quick, I'll give you the base information.
Okay.
The prophecies were discovered by someone named Istani Rayla, a Bajoran, and they were found in the city of Valhalla, which is one of the big dig sites where earlier on Sisko had actually found a prophecy from them as well that turned out to unleash a Pa Wraith, which is all in the notes that you'll have there. The direct translation that you're reading, which is a later translation after the original release of them, says that the Avatar of Peace is a child of the Emissary, and because the Emissary was human in this case, everyone is assuming that obviously this Avatar of Peace would be human. So.
Okay. It says specifically child of the Emissary?
Specifically the child of the Emissary.
That, my character doesn't know about Yates, but okay. And then is there anybody specific who is preaching this interpretation of the thing, of that prophecy?
It seems to be a largely groundswell movement. There were several people who attempted to suppress the idea of these prophecies, and the commentary that they used a lot of the Vedics that were talking about not releasing these was that it's a poor translation, or that this prophecy doesn't hold any real merit. And one of the things they cite is that in the prophecy it states that 10,000 will die before at the birth of the child, or some sort of 10,000 people will die because of the birth of the child, or 10,000 will die before the child is born, and the 10,000th one will be the child. It's difficult. Like, the translations have been muddled, so they're not. The Vedics were very hesitant to let this out.
So tell me if I'm getting this right. So the Vedic establishment is against this open interpretation, but
yes,
there is a grassroots interpretation. Okay.
Yep.
I believe that's 2 questions. So.
Yep. Okay. Yep, that's 2. Anybody else have anything they want to do real quick? Mills, what were you going to do?
I will share this information with everybody, by the way.
Okay.
I was going to debrief Ambrose on what we'd learned at the temple.
Right. Yeah, we were, unless you guys want to roleplay that out, we don't have to.
Okay.
So.
No, and then in that case, she'll go wherever he tells her to go, or help set up, or whichever.
Okay. What are you doing, Ambrose?
Yeah, it would probably make sense that I'm helping to coordinate this dinner event. And yeah, I would probably set Mills up with whatever other security team is going to be present for that. Very bare minimum stuff. I figure this would be a fairly small event. I mean, as far as who would be invited, I mean, I think that would just be I think this is an idea I presented to, whoever is currently running DS9, and that I was just sort of there to help out and be a good old Starfleet liaison.
Right.
But I wouldn't think I would be necessarily in charge of the whole diplomatic purpose of this meeting.
Sure.
If that makes sense. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, so, probably a bunch of people that I'm not even necessarily all that well familiar with, but I would like a joint security force between Starfleet and the DS9's Bajoran security force.
Right.
Though I'd want to make sure everybody is well vetted. I'd probably be forced to have an extended conversation with Quark about the menu.
Right. While you're talking to Quark, because this is something I was going to bring up, while you're talking to Quark, you notice that he is quite distracted. He is far more distracted than usual, than you would expect a host or a caterer in this case, who is going to be making a significant amount of latinum from people who always pay their bills. There's definitely something that is distracting, and a few times you see him glance in the corner at a couple of Nausicaans. But he every time he glances at them, he corrects himself quickly and goes back to speaking with you about the food and the food and wine selection and the cheeses and all that, the little hot dogs and. But it is consistently that he's looks back to the two Nausicaans.
Say hot dogs?
It's
Delicacy.
The tiny ones, the little Vienna ones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Vienna was an important city. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think I'm just going to lean my arm down on the bar and like I'm looking over his shoulder at whatever menu he's presenting.
Okay.
Quark, I don't have to be telepathic to know there seems to be a problem here. What? Don't make your problem my problem. That's all I have to say. Now, is there going to be a problem?
He kind of like looks back a little bit over his shoulder and smiles as his hand raises away from the data pad and says, "No problem, Commander." He taps a couple times. The catering will be supplied well, and then kind of hands the thing over towards you for your thumbprint.
I mean, does everything look in order? Is there some secret message he's trying to type to me on this data pad?
No. But give me an insight. What's a good one here? Give me an insight and command.
Sure. Let's see here. Insight, command.
Don't think those focuses would apply.
Nah. Okay. Yeah, let's see what I can find out.
2 successes. Okay. There is a secondary message on the data pad that is closed, but you can see it kind of like blinking, almost like a text message blinker, on the pad. If you take it, you could open it. If you take the pad from him, you could open it and see what it said.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it and just scroll through the menu and the contract and all that, and then I'm gonna go like I'm gonna put my thumbprint on and just kind of fat thumb the tab.
Okay. It brings up a contract between the Nausicaans and Quark, and in a quick read, it looks like they're being hired to attack something on Bajor. It looks like it might be a temple somewhere on Bajor. They're being hired by Quark to do this.
Okay. All right. Sure. Sure, Quark. Yeah. So I think at this point, right. No, this all looks in order. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get this to to the Starfleet commander of the station and make sure he has overview of this. I'll run this to him right now. I'll be right back.
He tries to grab it from you, but I assume you're going to pull it away and dodge out of the way.
Pretty much. Would you like to come with me?
I'm okay, Commander. I have business here to attend to.
Yeah, I see that.
And he kind of wrings his hands a little bit as you exit.
Okay. So if I remember correctly, the security office is pretty much directly across the promenade from Quark's.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like purposely. Is there a Starfleet presence there, or is that just Bajoran security?
There is a Starfleet presence that mills in and out. It's a Bajoran run office, obviously, but there is still a Federation presence on the station. So,
yeah, I'm gonna make my way to the command center. I forget what they call it on the space station.
Ops.
Ops. Yeah, Ops. I couldn't remember if it was CIC or Ops, but CIC is Battlestar.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my way to Ops, but I am gonna tap my comm badge and call for who did you say his name
Commander Edwards?
was? Commander Edwin. Yeah.
Yeah, Edwins. Yeah. All right. You want to meet him in Ops?
Yeah. Who is currently the commander of this station?
The current commander of the station is Kira, but she is gone. So the first officer, and that's a good question. I don't have the name. It is a Starfleet officer though. I'll find it for you when you get up to the bridge. When you get up to the Ops. So.
Yeah, I would tap my comm badge. Commander Edwin, I could use your assistance up in Ops, and I think it would be prudent to send a discreet security team over to Quark's. There seems to be a Nausicaan birthday party that we're going to have to contend with.
Of course. I'll be there in a moment. Stand by 1 second. Did anyone need to take a break for any reason?
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
All right.
I could use one.
Let's take 5. That'll give me a chance to do some to shore up my research from before that I forgot to do.
Okay.
That works.
All right, there we go. All back and all better. So you were heading to the ops station with Commander Edwin to talk about the wrongdoings of Quark. Where you will also, when you arrive, you come with the little elevator thing, and Edwin, who is a probably mid to late 30s, stocky man with a thin beard. His hair is kind of thinning, but it's not bald yet. It's just getting quite thin on top, but it's close cropped otherwise. He is his uniform
Bullion with hair.
That's the commander's a bullion. This is Edward's.
You're talking Edwin. Gotcha.
Yeah, the security.
My
guy.
mistake.
Yep. He is his uniform is immaculate though. Like it is, if you were looking at a book and looking at him, you know the Starfleet Uniform Code of Regulations and looking at him, you would think the book was wrong. Standing next to him is the commander of DS9, a Bolian named Tiris Jast, a commander by rank, a female. She is blue. She has a thin, slender build with sharp cheeks and a high-set chin. Her eyes are quite large, and she actually has eyebrows, which is a little bit odd on a Bolian, but they are there. As you approach the center station there on the ops room, which I don't have an ops room for DS9 because I didn't think far enough ahead. Jast stands and reaches out her hand. Commander Ambrose, it's good to see you again.
Commander Jast, likewise.
I hear that Mr. Quark is giving us trouble again.
Yes, news travels quickly. I'll just hand over the data pad. You know, it's almost insulting how relaxed he's become since Odo's departure.
Yes, Commander Miss Rowe will not approve of this. She will have to step up her game. She looks it over and hands it over to Edwin. So he just handed you this?
We were going over catering for the dinner. I'm sure you'll be attending that as well. I did make mention that I understood he was having some sort of possible problem, so maybe this is his way of reaching out. Maybe he's in over his head. I hear he gets in over his head quite often.
Edwin looks at the document, the pad, and then looks back at Jast. This is one of the temples that we think that they've taken and he kind of trails off. And Jast kind of nods her head and looks back at you. Commander, how aware of you are of what is transpiring aboard the station?
Well, I suppose my political knowledge of anything really only started yesterday when I met the ministers. Until then, I've had my hands full.
Yes, Mr. Edwin has expressed his need to reach out to you and have you deal with some of what the issues with Shakar and Asarim. As you can tell, we are slightly understaffed here since the Defiant has left. A lot of our main crew, our chief engineer, our captain or colonel, and a great number, our doctor, and several more have left for the Gamma Quadrant on a special errand that the colonel did not feel I was worthy of knowing. We are going to require the assistance of a starship shortly, as we do not have one.
Well, just luck. The Europa should be arriving any day now.
I do believe that was Commander Edwin's, as she looks over to him, his cunning plan. He kind of just smiles and, yeah, I'm not real subtle. What can I say? What we know right now is that Captain Sisko's wife has been taken. She was on Bajor at their home, awaiting the now imminent birth of their child, and she has gone missing. And I believe that Quark, in a misguided attempt to help, has contracted the Nausicaans, but I think he may be using that more as a diversion to get us to do something. Clearly, we would like to, but we do not have the resources, and with the turmoil that is going on Bajor, we don't know who we can trust on the Bajoran government to send anyone.
Right. This is an incredibly delicate situation, and Nausicaans are incredibly indelicate creatures.
Yes.
Okay, well, obviously we can't have this.
We're going to need the Europa when she arrives, and I think this best that if you can inform your captain of anything you have learned thus far, the less that we are involved, the more likely it is to. The less we are seen to be involved, I think the less conflict that there will be between us and the Bajoran crew of DS9.
I could get in contact. I'm sure they're close enough for a subspace message. You may want to contact Starfleet headquarters about approving them for maximum warp capabilities. Get them here a little bit faster.
Agreed. And Jast kind of, I will reach out to Starfleet. I will contact the captain as well once he is in system, so as things don't look too out of place.
Mm.
But anything you can inform him of before he arrives, I believe the Europa will may need to take some semblance of charge of the situation to prevent any bleed over.
Okay. Well, I think from an operational standpoint, this is something well within our capabilities, but this ties dangerously close into the problems this station and Bajor as a whole are having with the Federation, these Ohalu prophecies.
Agreed. I have my team looking into it, but again, we are somewhat understaffed for Starfleet, and the Bajoran teams don't really seem to be responding since Kira left.
I can forward you the data that one of my ensigns dug up. See if there's anything you don't already have.
Excellent. In the meantime, we look forward to seeing you at your dinner tomorrow.
All right. There's that to do too. All right.
Thank you for your diligence, Commander. Any assistance that you and the Europa can provide is going to be greatly appreciated.
I'll keep you apprised. You do the same.
Thank you. And she goes back to up the stairs towards the office.
Edwin, would you like me to accompany you back to Quarks, or will your men take care of this?
I'll handle it from here, but thank you. Kind of want to see where Quark's going to take this, but I definitely want to make sure he knows that we know.
I'd be careful about any level of Nausicaan involvement.
Agreed. I will definitely intervene
right.
on the Nausicaans.
All right. I don't need a new heart to go with this new lung.
All right.
Yes.
Anyone else have anything they want to do on board DS9 before the Europa gets close enough for contact? Okay. So.
Actually, aboard. Did you say somebody on DS9 or somebody on Europa? Which side of the
either one
the plot are we on? Okay.
Either side.
Yes, because there is an anthropologist aboard the Europa, and if we are forwarding all of this cultural information over to the Europa, she may be able to do some more research on her own.
Okay. Do you want to contact the captain of the Europa first, and then go from there, or just start dumping the information out and see what happens?
No, I should probably get in contact with the captain if the ship's close enough to do that on a one-to-one time basis.
Yep, can do that, no problem. So back aboard the Europa, the helm officer at the station right now, which I believe would be Ensign Fox.
Yep, Ensign Fox.
You are getting a message from Deep Space Nine and Commander Ambrose to speak with the captain.
Captain, message from Deep Space Nine from our future first officer.
Oh, well, it's about time we had a conversation. Put it on screen.
You sure you don't want to take in your ready room, sir?
No, on screen's just fine.
All right, sir. And he'll bring it up.
Okay.
Commander Ambrose, good to hear from you. How
Captain
fares
H.
Deep Space Nine?
It's looking through the view screen, or I suppose on my end, just the view window, probably in my quarters. Can I see that I'm open to the entire bridge?
Yes.
Okay. The station is just fine, Captain. We are swiftly awaiting your arrival. We have quite some plans that will involve the ship and the crew.
I see. What plans were you thinking?
There's clearly an awkward silence.
Mm-hmm.
Out with it. Come on.
Well, Captain, I would advise this is a matter of security and one of delicacy, but I will leave this to your judgment, whether this is a bridge conversation or one for your ready room.
He looks around and he says, unless you're going to start spilling state secrets, I think the bridge is secure enough.
All right. Well, I look forward to meeting everybody else in the room then. Yes, unfortunately, I am trying to be more diplomatic than perhaps I am used to being. The station is a mess, sir, and so is Bajor. We need you and the Europa here as quickly as possible.
All right. I heard something, we heard from Starfleet that there may be issues with a disappearance of a civilian, as well as I didn't know that the diplomatic situation was that dire. Is there something that escalated it?
It's been slowly escalating over months, sir. Agitations, conflicts within the promenade recently has erupted into full riots. Contained for the most part, but phasers have gone off, sir. We are currently seeing to the security and hospitality of the first and second minister. That is a whole other issue, and one I hope to leave to Starfleet's diplomatic delegation. As far as the kidnapping, I'm glad they forwarded that to you. It's not simply a civilian problem. It is, the wife of Benjamin Sisko.
Right, who is a civilian. I'm a bit confused at how that warrants full warp speed.
Ready at your command, sir.
I will be forwarding over some information we have about the diplomatic problem on Bajor. Namely, this Ohalu prophecy, which does seem to directly relate to Sisko, Yates, and a child.
All right. Well, I will send that information over to our science department. I have a feeling there's something you're not telling me. None of this would warrant full warp speed.
I would think you would want to get here as quickly as possible to save the life of one of the greatest commanders in Starfleet history.
Is she under imminent threat? Do we have reason to believe that there is a imminent threat to her life that the system security can't handle?
She has been kidnapped by political dissidents held in an unknown location for an undisclosed amount of time. And sure, I'll just throw it out there. There may or may not be Nausicaans involved.
See, I knew you were hiding something from me. That would be good to know. Next time, you can open the conversation with there may be Nausicaans involved, and it definitely changes the tenor of the conversation, Mr. Ambrose. All right. Helm,
Keep that in mind, sir.
Max Warp.
Absolutely, sir.
No tension between these two, none at all. We get good friends.
So, Mr. Ambrose, I expect you to keep the situation in hand till we get there.
I will do my best, sir.
Good man. And he disconnects.
Ambrose out.
He's Jorad is very annoyed, but he's going to very carefully not say anything.
Right.
Well, if Cass is on the bridge,
Sure.
she's going to say, Captain, there's an entire station full of people who've been dealing with the Bajorans for what, 10 years now? And an entire planet full of Bajorans. How does this get to be our problem?
Well, if Nausicaans are involved, it may be an interstellar incident. I can see why a starship would be useful in that case. Plus, there's probably no ship better in the sector to be able to find somebody on a planet with our science suites. That we'll be able to locate her better than anybody, I think.
Okay, now that's interesting. I'll give you that. That's interesting.
But why don't you go ahead and head to the lab, see what, take the data that he's transmitted over and see what you can find.
Sounds good, sir.
Prepare some planetary scans so we can find her.
I'll get those going as soon as we reach orbit, sir.
Then let's be about it, Lieutenant Bishanella.
Will do. And she'll zoom off.
All right. Are you going to? You're taking the data down to the science lab. Obviously, you're going to be going milling through it. So I don't know if anyone's there to help you. I don't know what our science teams look like at the moment. I believe Rebecca is aboard.
Mm-hmm.
Not that xenobotany will necessarily assist here, but you certainly could.
I will do what I can.
Well, if we have a civilian anthropologist and Cass's
yeah.
specialty is first contact, so she would have like connected with them like right away to talk shop.
I had actually forgotten about the civilian anthropologist.
Yep, Specialist Vren.
That's right. I have a picture for that one. All right, so you head down to the science lab where the three of you can intertwine. Let's see. I definitely have Vren. So if you want to discuss, if you want to introduce the characters here, since these are all characters I don't think we've seen on screen yet. That's Ren, I should say. So you head down to the science lab with your data in hand, and the information that's being transmitted from Deep Space Nine is uploading into the EVA system.
Hey, everybody, come on, gather around. We got stuff to do. Eva, listen in. We're going to need your help on this one.
Of course.
So do you two want to do introductions of who's here?
Rebecca eagerly comes over. She is very young, fresh out of Starfleet. This is her first posting. Very enthusiastic. She has Long dark hair. She keeps tied back in a ponytail. Human.
And likewise, Specialist Varen of the Vulcan Science Academy will slowly make her way over. She is a very, very Vulcan woman, very calm, would probably be the polite way of describing it. Middle-aged woman, very well put together. Yeah, she's a liaison for the Vulcan Science Academy for this whole expedition we will be going on.
All right, so we just got a message from Deep Space Nine from our first officer, and we've got a couple problems that are overlapping that we can work on together. So first one is the wife of Captain Sisko has gone missing, and I'm not entirely sure why that's our problem, but it is, and we're going to try to use the sensor suite on the Europa to find her. There can't be that, well, there might be that many humans on Bajor right now, but we probably can get access to her biometrics. I don't know, maybe. So let's try and track that down, and then we're going to find her. She's been kidnapped and nobody knows where she is, but apparently she's still on planet. And also at the same time, we've just got a dump of information on the Bahala prophecies, and apparently they're underlying some violent movement of Bajorans on the station, and there's been shootings. So I guess we're going to try and find a connection, see if they're related, see if we can figure out what's driving this unrest, and put the pieces together and solve this all by the time we reach orbit.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that sounds like two projects to me. Who would like to take the lead on trying to find Kasidy Yates on the planet Bajor from here? One of the three of you, obviously.
Kaz is not a sensor monkey, but she's got good stats.
I think O'Connor would definitely be more interested in combing through the prophecies.
Okay.
Okay.
But she does, well, she's got the computer analysis systems. So she might be better suited for
searching
running
out
the sensors. Yeah.
All right.
Cass has a little bit of both, so she can split and either lead or assist on either one.
Right. You can also have Eva assist on one of them if you want, whichever one you prefer. She's probably best for searching out the life science, but it's up to you.
Okay. How about Kaz and Vren do the cultural stuff?
Okay. Okay. In that case, let's start with the cultural side of stuff. Let's give me a. We did control last time as well, so we'll do control and science this time. One of you is rolling the lead. One of you is rolling support or assist, I should say. You can use the ship's computer to assist, just not Eva herself.
Vren, you want to take lead?
Yes, sir. I can do so. All right, Vren will head over to the computer system and start bringing up all kinds of data. Let's see. Okay, I have not had to do anything not from my main character sheet, so how do I do this?
So for this, what you're going to do is click on the die, the D20 down at the bottom of the screen, and hold it with a left click, and then to do a second die, you left click. Or right click, whatever. You do the other click. And then when you want to roll them, you just throw them onto the text.
Okay. Control and science. Well, that wasn't much of a roll.
And that was my roll. So you
okay. Not great dice
even
physics,
better.
but sure. Okay, cool. Well, I do love some complications, but that is one success.
Okay. And then the ship will roll in assistance. That is computers and
And Kaz is assisting as well.
yes.
Okay.
Hey, look at that. Rolled a one.
Thanks.
Nice. Can I talk you into a focus in either cross-cultural collaboration or galactic history?
I think galactic history sounds pretty
I
good.
I think
right?
galactic history could probably be used in there. Yeah.
Alrighty. And that's 1 assist. Oop, why didn't my stats come up? They dechecked. They're not checking. That's why.
Ah,
They are not checking.
the blue ones, the little blue
Yeah.
buttons. Okay.
Yeah, they turn red for a second and then they go back to blue.
Weird.
Target was 16.
All right.
So 1 success.
Okay. So that's 1 success for you, 2 successes for the computer, and 1 success on a complication for
Ren.
Ren. Yes.
Mhm.
We also have advanced research facilities, which grants a bonus momentum on obtained information momentum
Yep.
spends.
Nice.
So that gives
John,
you.
when you rolled, did you pick up the D20 and roll it, or did you roll from, did you hit the little blue button next to focus used?
Oh, it still won't let me. Well,
So
let's see.
So they don't stay red. If you,
Oh,
Yep.
there, I got it. Okay, thank
it just
you.
changes the TR. Yep.
right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
And then you can change under D20s to roll. You can manually change that to 1 for when you're assisting.
it's not super intuitive, but yeah, it's all
It's
there.
not, yeah, it's not super intuitive, but okay.
No.
Thank you. That was a huge help.
The hope is that the official version of this will actually have all that sorted out properly. But fan made stuff is fan made stuff, and we appreciate what the fans have done.
Indeed, we do.
So let's see. The difficulty was going to be 1 because you're going through secondary data. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that what we got? 4 successes?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yes, 4 momentum is what you have. So you can ask 4 questions. 5.
Because of the extra question on the advanced research facilities.
I was counting that one.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because we had 4 momentum, which put us 3 over the difficulty level plus the extra.
Yeah.
question.
Right. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Good. I just want to make sure my math is right. Normally I can do that faster, but you know what it is. So you have the same basic information that you got before that was relayed to you. The where the information, where the prophecies were found, all the things that your previous science officer discovered. So you can ask questions in addition to that. You don't have to rehash that stuff.
Yeah.
So what you got?
Is there anything that indicates, rather than just this is an iffy translation, what the tension is between the Vedic assembly and the followers of these prophecies?
It really all seems to stem around the 10,000 dead thing.
Okay.
There are some who have interpreted it as they must kill 10,000 people, which is what the original translators of this were assuming, that in order to have the Avatar piece arrive, you need to kill 10,000 Bajorans, and that obviously does not sit well with the Vedics. Beyond that, the assembly has called these heretical texts. They don't believe their validity. That is the crux of the issue with the text as a whole.
Is there anything that gives more data about what the Avatar piece is supposed to do?
That's a good question. The Avatar of Peace is supposed to usher in a new age of enlightenment for Bajor. Some of the other context in the text, though, leads some to believe that this is because of the purging of so many lives, that this would be akin to a genocide that leads up to this new age, and they don't want that. But there's also a lot of the other contention that you're seeing a lot of in this is that the Avatar of Peace being a human, or at least mostly human, is what's causing a rebellion of sorts amongst the people.
Let me pose this question to the group, not officially asking yet, but pose it to the group. Do we think it's a good idea to ask how many Bajorans died just in the lead up to the Bajoran War? Could there be 10,000 deaths in the last 5-10 years? And is that relevant information? Actionable information?
I would guess not, because you're going to have people arguing over what it means.
Yeah, people are
You've
going to
got people
argue
arguing.
anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay.
You've got two more.
Again, also tossing this one out, maybe have there, like, what level of incidents involving the followers have there been? Was the shootout on the promenade the first one, or is there like an active terrorist movement on Bajor that might likely be linked to the kidnapping, or could this be just like some, randos? Is there an actual link?
Right. It's a fairly new movement. It only started a few months ago. There is not a lot of organization, but there are, that is confined to a few regions near one of the major temples that houses some of the orbs. There is not really a cohesive movement beyond that, though. It is a lot of individuals who appear to be kind of acting on their own in what they believe is the best intention of the prophecies. Semi-organized, but not organized, if you know what I mean. The incident on DS9 is the first time Starfleet officers have been involved, but it is not the first violent incident that has happened. Again, mostly contained to those two regions, those couple of small regions around the temple regions where most of the orbs are kept, or at least some of the orbs are kept.
I think an interesting question could be, if I remember correctly, Bajorans put a lot of stake in these prophecies as to they're going to come true. It's a matter of interpretation as to how they come true, but they're going to come true. So my question would be, what exactly these riots are what purpose they're supposed to serve? Is there some sort of does the prophecy say something about preventing the Avatar of Peace, or yeah, just another way around the prophecy?
Sure. What you're seeing largely from the groups that are on Bajor has largely been two thought categories. One is to usher it in and bring about the 10,000 deaths and just get it over with and bring about the new age. The other is to prevent the Avatar from being born, or to prevent the Avatar from instituting whatever 10,000 deaths is going to happen, from killing these people, because some interpretations of it is that the Avatar themselves will do the killing. So there are largely two prevailing thought circles, and I think that basically answers your question, but I'm not 100% sure it does. If you want some clarification on that, go ahead.
I suppose just on that second part, preventing the Avatar from doing the killings, I mean, wouldn't that mean the prophecy isn't fulfilled?
Right. So that would be a group that is trying to prevent the prophecy from happening. This group is attempting to stop the prophecy. Just like there was a couple groups that, if you go back and watch the series, there was a couple of people who tried to stop the snakes from the two snakes from arriving, and all that obviously happened due to interpretation.
Right. So, yeah. Just the notion that it's going to happen anyway.
Right.
I guess I would have a follow-up question, but we're out of questions. That doesn't matter.
You do have additional momentum, which I don't mind spending for that if you want to do one more.
I don't think it's necessary. I think I know what you're going to say anyway. I don't think it's important.
Gotcha. Anybody else have anything they want to do on that, or we want to do the scan?
I think we're good.
All right. On the scan, let me get a.
So the ship has arrived at this point since we're scanning?
They were going to do a long range scan first, was what
Gotcha.
they had decided,
Okay.
to see if they could find anything from this distance. Which obviously the difficulty will be quite a bit higher, because you're at distance. I'm going to say the difficulty is probably going to be 4.
Ugh.
So give me a. Again, this is going to be control and science. Computers or sensors, if you have it.
Cass has computer systems.
Nope. So maybe you should take lead on this, Cass.
Okay, 2d20s. Let's see if we can actually make this work this time. Oh yeah,
I will assist.
3 successes.
3 successes. The ship adds 1, and she adds 1. So you have one momentum.
Nice.
Oh, that's not my character. That's a lie.
Well, you rolled
It's still a
4.
success because it was a 2, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yep. All right. So yes, you are able to identify a human life sign in a specific region of, I want to say it's the Decor province, although I don't remember exactly where they live. Doesn't matter. But you do find a signal. Actually, it would be two human signals, occupying almost the same space. So you definitely do have what you think would be a pretty confirmable lock on Kasidy Yates.
Cass is going to whoop and go, "Great work, Eva," and jump up and high five the air.
Okay. Back aboard DS9. Does anyone have anything they want to do?
Did we bank that?
Oh,
Did we bank that momentum?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what did we do about that complication I rolled?
Oh, you did roll a complication, didn't you?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What was that roll? That was on the
I was on the cultural find.
cultural find roll. I am going to bank it because I forgot about it.
Mhm.
So that's my bad. I actually had one earlier that I thought of, and I couldn't remember what it is now, and it's too late to do add. So I will bank it, and I will add a complication somewhere later.
Okay.
So back aboard DS9. Does anyone have anything they want to do there before we get to the preliminary dinner stuff? Not quite dinner, but a little bit just before the Europa arriving.
Yeah, just before, I would like to do some research to determine any commonalities between orb experiences and like try and set up a baseline radioscope.
Yeah.
So that I can try and get an idea of any residual orb influence.
All right.
Residual orb, you know what I mean.
Right. Any correlation, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So give me reason and science for that.
Okay.
And which character is this one? Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garbage. It's
And
garbage.
research would apply. So
It's still. Wait, did it not roll on the?
It did not roll.
it didn't roll on
Nope.
the thing. So
So.
you have to roll. Yeah, there you go.
Try for less garbage. Look at that.
Look at that, less garbage. So that's 1 success, I assume.
2, if my focus applies.
2, right, because it's focus. Okay, yeah. It takes you quite a while to sort it out, but what you've discovered is that there seems to be a correlation with whom has orb experiences and whom is siding against the idea of the basically who has participating in these events, in these outbursts of disobedience, and people who've had orb experiences. It's not 100% of the people who are acting out have had orb experiences, but a significant number of them have.
So you're saying the orbs might be causing this unrest directly?
It is a distinct possibility.
That's interesting. that would jive with what the Europa found, that the main places where the main sources of violence were where orbs were. Okay. So I would like to. I'm going to set it up during the meeting. I am going to sneak into Shikar's room and try and figure out if he's got this energy.
Okay. We will get to that when we do the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely security placed outside his quarters.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Can you? Yeah, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
Right. Just making a plan, and we'll see where it goes.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
That's right.
Right.
Prior to the arrival of I almost said Lexington, of the Europa, Commander Ambrose, you are contacted for a meeting by Second Minister Asarem.
Okay. I will make my way over to wherever she wants that meeting.
All right. You head to her quarters, where you are led in past the two Bajoran security agents who were there, and she is sitting on the well. When you come in, she's standing, but she here I've got this to show everyone. Her here. For those who don't remember who she is.
Is this the day of the dinner?
This is the day of dinner, shortly before dinner.
Shortly before.
Shortly before dinner.
Okay. Actually, there was something important I wanted to look up.
Sure.
I don't know if there's going to be any easy way for me to find this in a time that takes me to continue talking very
Slowly.
Okay, cool. I found what I needed to find. Maybe we'll go with that.
Okay.
There's no reason to be super secretive about this. How large would you say a Kanar crystal is?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because I don't think it was ever shown on screen.
Yes. They were actually. They're
were?
a little bit. They're probably about the size of 3 fists.
Oh, it's a whole big thing.
Yeah, they're fairly large because she uses it when she's melding, I guess, with Geordie.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see.
She's actually holding it in her hands. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's not something I can wear around my neck.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about this trait, because if I'm required to lug around this whole statue if I want to use my power, that might not be super useful.
I wouldn't be opposed to there being a smaller version of it that would have some benefit still. Maybe it's something you can't sustain for as long.
Okay.
So.
Okay. We'll talk about
Sure
what that power can do.
Sure.
My intent was to go into this dinner with my Kanar crystal, so I could at least get some sort of empathic read, if not service level thoughts.
Right.
So I don't know if we can make that happen or not.
Possible. I'll tell you what. Let's say. Well, here's what we'll do. There will be you could do it with a smaller, say like a finger of jade size piece. So the size of an actual finger. You could do some of the light at limited range empathic reading.
Okay. So if this really is like just before the dinner, I would be showing up again in full Starfleet dress uniform, and I would have a crystal necklace on, which is actually my now miniaturized Kanar crystal.
Right. Okay. She answers the door, obviously, and ushers, motions for you to come in. Commander, I'm glad you could make it. I'm looking forward to this dinner. She is dressed in Bajoran finery. Like, she is definitely dressed as a second minister would be dressed for a state dinner of sorts. She is also wearing a very fine necklace with the large jewels and whatnot that represent her family and her station.
The earring.
The earring, yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could join me, Commander. I have some hesitation about this dinner. I have been unable to reach Minister Shakar since he arrived at the station. I know he is at least somewhat well. He's been receiving visitors, but he is not taking my calls. And I fear there may be something planned. This dinner may provide someone an opportunity that is. I don't know, Commander. Perhaps I'm just being nervous.
Well, it was my hope that this dinner would simply give us all an opportunity to get to know each other before any sort of high-stakes diplomatic negotiations. But I can see how it could be used as a stage. Is it unusual for the First Minister to not be in contact with you?
It has been increasingly more frequent, but it didn't used to be. We were a very, well, not close. We were opposite. We were opposing parties. But one of First Minister Shakar's most admirable qualities is that he has always been willing to collaborate. That seems to have ended.
Well, I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. I suppose, is there anything I may be able to do to help bridge this gap or alleviate your concerns?
It was foolish of me to contact you, Commander. I do apologize. We spoke so well earlier. I just didn't know where else I could turn.
There's nothing foolish about being cautious.
Give me an insight and command roll. If you'd like, I would actually say that the Canar Crystal, because it's got some empathic ability assisting, I would say go ahead and...
Advantage, maybe?
Yeah, go ahead and do advantage, which is what? That just lowers difficulty by 1, correct?
Yeah, if it's advantage 1, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do a difficulty of 3. She's very good at hiding her
So from 4 down to 3?
from 4 down to 3. Yep.
Okay.
You do have 4 momentum.
Yes. Okay. Trying to think if there's any. Could I stretch inspiration, drawing off how inspiring I was during our last conversation?
I think
that's a stretch.
I think that's a stretch for this particular.
Yeah, that's a
instance,
stretch.
Yeah.
All right. No. Well, I am all for using momentum, but even more than using momentum, I am all for buying momentum.
Sure.
Actually, I think I can only. I think that's something I have to be using security for.
Well, you can always buy.
That's bold. Yeah.
You can always buy momentum with threat. So that's
right.
Just a
No,
thing you can
I
always
was. Yeah, I was thinking bold, but that's only for security discipline.
Right.
Okay. No. Yeah. I'll buy at least one more die for 1 momentum. Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It would be 2 more for another dice. Do we want to do that, or I think 3's enough, unless you guys.
Well, we've got it.
Right.
Yeah, we got it. Might as well spend it. Sure.
Yeah.
Dump 3 of that momentum. I'll roll 4 dice.
Okay.
No focuses. All right. Let's then I click this button.
Nice.
So
no.
you
That
didn't.
only
So
rolled 2.
yeah, right. So you only rolled 2. You go ahead and do it again because that'll roll your 4. But normally, what you would do is where it says TR and then D20s to roll, just
Yeah.
change it to 4.
Yeah, I thought I did that. Okay.
There we go.
Well, now
it
I did that.
Yeah, I did it
Oh,
for
okay.
you. So I clicked it to 4 anyway. So we'll take that one. It's fine. It's 3 successes. Unless you want to just roll 2 more, it's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, this works.
All right. So you got 3 successes, which is enough. but does not get you back any momentum.
Mhm.
She is definitely hiding something and playing it very smoothly. Like, well, not smoothly, but she's playing it very well. Her anxieties, but she's clearly hiding something.
Mhm.
There's an underlying tension that you get from her from your crystal.
Okay. Let's see, the station, DS9. I know it was moved, but Bajor is still well within view, right? Does she have a room facing Bajor?
I don't think you can actually see Bajor from the station.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay. And you have to be at a fairly specific section to see the wormhole. Okay. Let me think here. Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm just going to walk towards one of the nice large windows that this place has. Just kind of stare out for a second and breathe deeply. You know, Second Minister, if the past few years had been different, perhaps I would be more useful to not just yourself, but towards Starfleet and Bajor's common interests. I fear well, as we said before, it's been a difficult several years for all of us. And like I said, it would be a shame not to let everything we have been to fortify us. This could be a situation that rallies all of us together, or it could be a situation that tears all of us apart. And I don't just mean Bajor and the Federation. I mean all of us. I've made it a point over the past, day, it's been a long day, to try to better familiarize myself with the nuances of Bajoran politics right now. I can't say I'm an expert, but what you are feeling right now between yourself and Shakar is being felt all across the station, all across Bajor, from what I've heard. It's erupted into sort of anti-Starfleet, anti-anyone external conflict, but I mean, it's not just contained between our two parties. It's between you and Shakar. It's between the Vedic Assembly. It's between two radically different interpretations of a prophecy that is ancient and has been lost and retranslated and mistranslated so many times. We need to work together. Because if there's one thing I understand about your faith, if I may be so bold, it's that these prophecies come to pass. So let's see that they come to pass in a way that benefits all of us.
She stares at you for a moment, and her expression doesn't change so much as her stance kind of shifts a little bit. You're a wise man, Commander. I appreciate your insights, and I believe you are correct. We must come together. We must find a way to come together. Hopefully this dinner will be a good opportunity. I look forward to speaking more, and I hope that my fears of First Minister are assuaged.
Could I ask if you know of any specific instances throughout the last few months during the tour of the Federation that may have culminated into this change of heart? His as well as yours.
Well, I don't believe that my opinion on the Federation has changed. I do not look forward to the Federation membership, but it is the will of the people, and it was the will of our First Minister until, well, a few months ago. I was not with the First Minister when he had his change of heart, but my understanding is that he had an experience while he was out, and that the Orb of Memory showed him something, but he has never been so inclined as to share it with me. My Orb experiences tend to be very private, and we don't often share them for those who actually are benefited to have them. Which you can see, you can sense a little bit of resentment in her on that, on that line.
I understand. It's difficult for me, I suppose. I suppose it's my Starfleet training, Federation upbringing, that makes me concerned about a single individual having all of the knowledge and all of the power.
Agreed. But there are ways for our government to sustain itself should one person become tyrannical. We've learned a great deal from our Cardassian overlords.
Well, I certainly hope it doesn't come to that. I don't think it could come to that.
I agree. I apologize to bother you, Commander. I know you're a busy man with this dinner approaching.
It was set up entirely for your comfort. If it is no longer comfortable, it can be rearranged.
No, that would be unwise, I think. There's enough tension between our people. This sort of dinner could dispel some of that. Thank you for your time, Commander. If I must finish getting ready.
I will see you there shortly. I look forward to it.
Okay. As you step out into the hallway, you are notified that the Europa is entering the system. And the Europa is entering the system. So.
Could I actually just very quickly head over to Shakar's room?
Sure. We will, as you were heading over there, we will have the Europa.
Sure. Yeah.
Arrive in system.
Mm-hmm.
So the Europa arrives in system. DS9 is on your view screen. I assume you stop. You don't run into it. Anything you got?
I was muted.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I'm. I tell the officer, or I tell Helm to, I tell communications officer to give a wave to Deep Space Nine and tell him we're headed to Bajor, and I'll tell the away team to ready to head down to the planet, and I think it's probably best if I'm gonna ask my officers' opinions on this, but I think it's best if we wait in space between the two in case any situation arises where we would need the ship. Since
Dasabi says that is a very good idea, Captain.
Yeah. So keep the engines hot, but prepare a shuttle to go down to Bajor, we'll let the Deep Space Nine. We'll stand by a Deep Space Nine in case that team needs us as well.
Captain, since there's a good chance we know exactly where Ms. Yates is, why don't we just beam her out of there? Call it done.
Yeah, I guess we can do that.
There are potential issues. I would, because we don't know what shape she's in and she's pregnant, I would rather have eyes on her before we put her in a transporter.
That is a good point. Plus, it seems like a safe bet that they would prepare for that eventuality. So we'll see if it's a possibility at the very least to like get her out when the away team gets there. But I still want away team on the ground.
Just to have it said, Ensign Tong has a focuses in transporters.
Okay, if we need to pierce through something, Ensign Tong's our guy. But yeah, let's try several different things and see which one works.
Real quick, what is Koba? Koba is a
security.
Ardarian? No, what race?
Bolian.
What species? Bolian? Is that the image you sent earlier? Not that one. Not that one. That's a Denobulan. I'm not sure who that's supposed to be.
That's the nurse.
Okay. And then I've got this guy here. That one?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's him.
All right, good. Just want to make sure I have pictures of all the characters that I can have pictures of.
Yeah.
And then we'll go ahead and resize this to like so. All right, so this is 3/4 of your away team. The fourth being I don't have a picture for.
Traditional Bolian 60 character name.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That there's no alphanumeric name, you know.
Good gods.
That was the name that Discord gave me when I downloaded
Gotcha.
the photo. I just haven't had a chance to change them all yet. All right. So you're taking a shuttle down, or you're beaming the away team down.
We're taking a shuttle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have executively decided.
Yes, that's fine. Well, I know you weren't beaming her up. I didn't know if you guys were beaming
Right.
yourselves down.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, we'll need to shuttle her up.
Sure.
Probably. So
Yeah,
Europa
just in
has
case
many
she's not in a
shuttles.
good shape to transport. I'd rather have a shuttle.
Sure. So you guys head down in the shuttle. You don't encounter really any resistance from the Bajoran command. They see a Starfleet shuttle and they're like, okay, it's a Starfleet shuttle coming to do its thing. The standard challenges from what are you doing here, that kind of stuff. But you manage to land without too much difficulty. Some maybe a half a mile or a mile or so from the designated spot. You don't want to land too close just in case there's some kind of hostility there. But you do land and you can make your way towards where the encampment or where you believe that she's being held.
Real quick,
Yes.
I think with Koba, I think he'd have a phaser rifle. So I'll take the threat for that.
Sure. I am actually going to spend some threat when we get there anyways, so that works good for me.
It costs threat for you to be armed.
No,
To be armed with
To
a
be
phaser.
armed with specific things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that has an escalation cost. So like and also you guys have Marines aboard. If you use a Marine, it's an escalation. Rather than using just regular Starfleet security. But yeah, anything like using torpedoes or using Type 3 phasers. There's a couple of handheld weapons that do that as well. A couple of like
Gotcha.
yeah. But it also costs for me to use the same equivalent. It costs me threats. So
Cool.
All right, so you arrive at an overcropping, looking down at this. It's an old Bajoran temple. It's in relative ruin, probably centuries old, destroyed most likely during the Cardassian occupation. What you can see outside, if you would like to give me a security and insight roll, I will tell you a great deal.
Koba's going to examine the place and he's going to whistle and he's going to say, boy, if I was a bad guy, that's where I'd be.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. Clearly, this is where your sensors were sending you anyways. But yes,
Right.
it looks like the kind of place bad guys would be.
Yes. And he's just commenting because he likes to hear himself talk.
Sure. Well, he's a Bolian.
That is
An 11 and a 2.
2 successes.
Okay. You see that there are 4 armed Bajorans, and they are using Bajoran phaser rifles, which I will spend
Mm.
my threat to give them each one. There are 4 that you can see, and you just based on the general tactics that are used by Bajoran groups, you can expect there's probably at least 2 to 4 more inside.
Okay, I will relay that to everybody as my that would be my security opinion.
Oh, and you'll
Who
get
is commanding
Okay,
this
one threat.
mission?
I believe it's the doctor.
Yep, I'm pretty sure I'm the ranking officer here.
I mean, you can delegate it to somebody if you think somebody's better equipped
Yep.
for it, but
I
Yeah.
delegated to the security guy because this sounds like a super fun, either covert or fighty mission, and unless I can negotiate my way in there, I got nothing.
well, do we want to try negotiating?
We can try. It would definitely be the Starfleet option and the preferable option. However,
Doctor, I'll point out if it might be worth a try, just because if she's in there, she's a hostage. That
Exactly.
creates a whole messier situation.
And Cass would say, I don't have combat experience, but I do have some experience dealing with hostile people. I might be able to do something.
Actually, thinking about it, I think Kaz is probably the one in charge here because you're the second officer.
She's the second officer. That is true.
yeah,
Okay. Then yeah, and she has diffused the tension. So
Hey, Cass, Lieutenant, what if a couple of us set up over that ridge there and get ready to ambush them if things go south?
I'd like to make it look like we have more numbers than we do. So I'm kind of reluctant to make, some of it you, because you're the only person here who can actually shoot anything with a chance of hitting it, disappear.
Jeese's antennas sort of stick up real high on that one. You have another. Actually, I think she's technically command department, but Jisa is here as well. She is. Yeah.
Okay, she's command, but she is.
She's the pilot, but she is a fighter pilot, and I believe she she has pretty good control, fitness, daring, security.
She can shoot some stuff.
I mean, she can hold
I
her
suppose-
own. She will also speak up. This runabout also has plenty useful sensors. We could get a look at the layout of the building, how many people are inside, perhaps even create false sensor ghosts, actually make it look like there are more of us.
Let's do that first. Yeah.
I suppose you have a good point, Lieutenant. We show up there, we'll definitely have the numbers. I call this arm Galaxy class and this arm Sovereign class.
Kira and Steamrunner.
Dasavi just kind of does what I'm doing right now. Just kind of puts her fingers to her forehead, shakes her head a little bit, and smiles.
Yeah, perhaps the hiding in ambush is a good idea. But let's do some scans first, see what it is we're up against, where they are, and if we can get a better medical reading on Ms. Yates, if that is her, we'll know just how dire the situation is.
There she is. Lieutenant Shajin, sorry. While you're scanning the building, I think we should look for perhaps any hidden passageways or underground tunnels that might give us a more covert access to the building and to Ms. Yates.
I like it.
Just so I understand the mechanics of everything, what would that scan be as far as a roll?
You're scanning using the ship, right? Or using the shuttlecraft?
Right.
I would say it's probably
control science for sensors.
Control science, yeah, with the ship's sensor and
Okay.
science.
Yeah, because she's not science whatsoever.
Then Cass can do it, and she's got computer systems.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
What-
What
Assist
shuttlecraft did you
in-
guys bring down? Type 9, Type 6, runabout? What'd you bring down?
Yeah, the runabout is pretty standard.
Sure.
Sense.
Captain's yacht.
Yeah, having
Right.
having talents on a different page is confusing. She does have
Yes.
computer.
Is a little bit.
All right.
Which is,
So
well,
go
it's
ahead.
programmer study of a computer, so that's not going to apply. Cautious science, though, she can if we buy. Let's just do the scan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could Jisa help with that?
Sure.
Yeah, and the shuttle too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Shuttle. I've already got the shuttle ready to roll. So
Okay.
Because Jisa does have a focus in electronic warfare.
Ooh, nifty. All right.
Nice.
I would say that works for what you're
Okay.
doing. Let's see. Sensors on this thing are 7, and it has 0 in science. So
And an assist is just a single
single
roll,
die.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The runabout is of no use to you.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is still what did you say? Control science.
Yes. Unless you have something else you want to contribute with it. You can use other things if you can figure out why. And that I'm assuming
that's work.
is
Yeah, that's
is
fine.
1. So you have 3 successes. It was difficulty 1, so you're succeed by 2. That leaves you 2 questions to ask if you'd like, or you can bank those momentum. What you get though is, because you're scanning for life signs primarily, right? There are 2 humans, or 1 human and 1 almost human, I guess, well, technically human or soon to be human. Kasidy is still alive, and the fetus is still alive, is what I'm getting at. There are 4 life signs inside and 4 life signs outside that are all Bajoran. You have 2 additional questions.
I like the underground tunnels, passageways question.
Yes, there is an underground tunnel that leads into the hillside not too far from where you are, and it comes up under somewhere near what looks like it's probably originally an altar of some sort in your floor plan.
Should we ask the simple question of is it possible just to beam them out?
You can ask if you want to.
Let's ask that. Yeah.
Could I make that even broader and expand on that with my electronic warfare focus? Is there anything preventing, or what is their general technological setup in there as far as transport, scramblers, or I mean probably not scramblers, but interference, sensor capabilities?
So what you're picking up, technologically speaking, there are 4 phasers, phaser rifles. There are no tricorders of any kind, at least not that you can tell. There's probably 1 replication unit, and there is at least 1 pattern dampener,
Aha. Okay.
which means
Okay.
that transport would be difficult inside the building, but you could probably transport anyone outside the building.
Mhm. Okay. You said no tricorders, so they probably don't have any other way of seeing things other than just their eyes.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay.
I mean, they might have looking glasses of some sort, but they don't
Right,
have any electronic devices for that.
Yeah, sensor ghosts aren't going to help us here.
Right.
Okay. OOC.
How upset?
Go ahead.
How upset would Starfleet be if
Oh,
we
boy.
just transported the 4 that are outside somewhere else?
Yep, that's what I was thinking. Just-
I suppose if that somewhere else is a secured location where they could be apprehended, Starfleet wouldn't mind at all. That's sort of our job.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
transport them to the brig?
I mean, you brought a runabout. There's definitely places you could put them in there.
Well, is there like someplace? It would get a little crowded, and particularly if we have to go out and assault the rest, leaving the bad guys in our transportation might not be optimal.
We
there's
could
force
just
fields for
have
that.
Europa transport them straight to the brig.
Yeah,
If they're in range.
well,
Yeah.
we take off again.
You don't even have to take off. The Europa can just come into range.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle right now.
Yeah, where the Europa's at, it would not be difficult for the Europa to come in and just beam them out for you.
Okay.
My concern is once we beam those out, those inside aren't
warned.
going to take kindly to that.
Well,
We'd have
If
to
they
get the inside.
notice,
what if a small team goes in the back and we wait until a coordinated signal, they get beamed out, the interior team goes in.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I like it.
I would find it unusual if the inside team didn't have eyes on the outside team. That's
Noting
then
that these
what's the
are
point?
at one time professional terrorists. So
I think it's safe to say old Koba's going to be on the interior team. Who's coming with me?
well, I will obviously.
Let's go, Doctor.
Is there any point to me staying with the shuttle?
You might need to pick people up if a quick getaway.
I'll stay here then.
I'll go with the team then, just to. I mean, it's one more phaser, and I can maybe talk them down as well.
sure.
All right. Do we need to roll for the infiltration?
Go ahead and give me a yes. Let's do so this is gonna, I don't know how this actually works to do it this way. So let's do a I'm gonna try something. Let me know how this works. It may not work very
Okay.
well.
Alright.
The person who has the lowest security and the person that has the highest fitness can go. Can make what? That doesn't work. Never mind. Go ahead and just give me a fitness and security roll. I know what I'm trying to do, but it's not going to work.
Right.
Can I've got an idea.
Yeah.
So since I'm leading the group,
Yeah.
can I give advantage to the people with us? And then if that beats if that beats a set difficulty for their vigilance, we succeed.
Sure.
Okay. And I have athletics. So would that focus apply?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. Since we're climbing over mountain.
Wait,
you know.
Before we do that,
Okay.
like we start to head off, and Desavi gets like 2 steps and stops and turns and looks at Jisa. I'll defer to you because you obviously have more tactical experience than I do. But I'm wondering if we stay low, they can't see us from up here. If we beam the 4 out now and then continue beaming out as the inside people come out, would that
Why would the inside?
Why would the
sound-
inside people come out?
to
We
see what
say at the
happens to
same
outside
time.
people?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they know that the people outside are gone, which they could be in,
They hunker
would-
down.
They would hunker down
Okay.
and secure the hostage.
put,
Yeah.
Okay.
put a blaster to her head, and, you know.
Just
Oh.
end it.
All right, so I would like to spend a momentum.
Sure.
That is, you said it's fitness security. That is only 2 successes because of my focus.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, 3
No, 3.
3 successes.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. I take you're gonna go take the tunnel in, I assume, the tunnel that you had
Yeah.
seen.
Mhm.
You guys head down in the tunnels, and so far as you can tell, you have not been detected. You get down to the rendezvous point or the staging point, and you can now, if you wish to if you wish to call for the transport, now would be a good time to do so.
Okay. Cass will give the order.
Just as you're timing in your head, anyways, the beam outs because they take about 6 seconds. It's the Europa. It's fast. We cut back to DS9. On DS9, the dinner is beginning. Everyone has been brought into the room. Gist is there, Jast, Commander Jast, all of the crew that have been requested. Shakar is also arriving about now. He is a little bit late, but not significantly so. Hang on 1 second. Go ahead.
I I did ask before if I could, before the dinner, go to Shikar's quarters.
Oh yes, I'm right. It's my mistake. Go ahead. So you do head to Shikar's, and we'll do that before we get into the dinner. So.
I'm actually just curious if he'll even see me, but I would walk up to the door and presumably to the security personnel in front of the door.
Yeah. They stop and First Minister's not seeing anyone.
I was simply coming to welcome him to the dinner and see if there was any way I could assist him before the event.
And your
There's
name?
Concerns he had.
What's your name?
Commander Aurani Ambrose.
Stand by. The guy turns and pushes the button. Commander Ambrose from Starfleet is here to see you, First Minister. A few seconds with no sound, and the two guys just kind of look at each other. And then the door opens, and Shakar is standing there. He's wearing his First Minister attire, as you would expect him to do so in a meeting such as is pending. He reaches out his hand. Commander Ambrose, we didn't get a chance to speak very much earlier. I am First Minister Karidan.
It is a pleasure to officially meet you, First Minister, Commander Aurani Ambrose. I had the pleasure of speaking with the Second Minister, both yesterday and not long ago. I was simply heading to see both of you to see if there was any further way I could extend Federation hospitality.
You can escort me to your dinner. And he kind of gestures for you to walk.
So, on our way.
Yes. So how is the Second Minister Wadeen? How is Wadeen, the Second Minister?
From what I can tell, she is, well, a consummate diplomat and politician at all times, far above my caliber.
It's good. I'm glad I was able to leave things in such capable hands.
How have you been feeling? I hear that you have been keeping to yourself.
I've been tired, but I feel much more rested today than I have in a long time. I didn't know how stressful the job of First Minister would be. I would much rather be back leading the resistance.
I can't imagine how different He sort of pauses. I think on a very small scale, I can understand at least a little bit.
Yes, I've heard you are somewhat of a hero.
I wouldn't go that far, sir.
No hero ever would.
Starfleet conditioning.
Yes.
I say with a wry smile.
What prompted your your dinner tonight, might I ask?
Well, if you can believe it, my father is something of a renowned ambassador. I took after him in my youth, and if things had gone differently, perhaps you would be speaking to me on a more official capacity during these talks. Alas, my contribution was a bit more directly involved. But it is still very important to me that I represent the best that there is in Starfleet.
Yeah. He kind of nods and looks forward again. Says, we are all our father's sons. I must thank you, Commander. The opportunity to have a nice rest, notwithstanding, I may have shirked some of my responsibilities since being aboard station. And this dinner will give me an opportunity to set the record straight. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I certainly hope that tonight can be a productive meeting for all of us involved. Well, I will admit once again that we are outside my scope.
Well, that's when true heroes are found, right? Here we are. As you arrive at the door.
Could I get a read off of him?
Sure, go ahead. Give me an insight and command roll. And I'd say the difficulty is going to be 2. With your crystal, if you want to use that, I'd say the difficulty be 1.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see how it works out. Okay.
2 successes.
That's 2.
What you get from him is largely confidence. He is actually, I tell you what, you get that there's a definitive serenity to his motion and a confidence in his, not necessarily in anything other than just who he is, knowing comfortably who he is, but somewhere in that there is a bit of a conflict in him. But you can't really tell what the conflict is. It's less an emotional conflict and more of a thought conflict. And without having more telepathy, you wouldn't be able to tell what that is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. As we walk in, or just before we walk in, First Minister, I am honored to have you and the Second Minister at this gathering that I very quickly put together. I had something and I lost it. I will say it resounds in me a similarity between the two of us, if I may be so bold. Our shared background, similar as it may be. There are a lot of pressures, a lot of difficulties that come with living a life of constant suspicion and constant tension, always looking over your shoulder, and the juxtaposition of what it is to be a leader of people, a unifying factor.
he puts his hand on your shoulder and gives you a big smile and doesn't say anything, just steps to the door.
Sort of under my breath, I wish us both luck.
All right, back under the ground. You've done your count out. The 6 seconds have passed. Everyone on the outside should be transported out. Without using your communicators, you won't know for sure. But what do you want to do?
Barrel in.
All right.
I'm gonna let them barrel in.
Who all's going up? So you're obviously our blue guy is going in,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Clean,
The blue brawler.
the blue brawler. Let's see if I can find all.
Dasavi will definitely hang back and let them clear the room.
All right, we got this one.
I'm
We got
not a
this
war
one.
doctor.
Cass will go in.
All right, so the two, Cass and Koba, you guys head up into the room. Weapons are out, I assume, and up. Give me a. I'm gonna. Are you gonna start shooting outright, or do you want to try to secure the room without?
Hold on.
Sure.
I'm a genius. How can I tell how many different thought patterns I'm sensing in the room?
Oh right, you're a Bajor, or a
Yeah.
Bajor, right? There are 6. I will say 6. Just
Okay.
assuming that the child is having some kind of thought pattern.
Sentient. Okay.
Wait,
All right, so I will.
including the child?
What's that?
6 including the child.
Okay.
6 including the child.
Yeah.
Actually, you're full Bajoran, right?
Yep.
There are 8.
Excellent.
The hell?
Oh,
All right.
2 that didn't show up on sensors.
Yeah. It would seem there are more than anticipated. Can I determine if the additional 2 are Bajoran with the resistance, or are additional hostages, are oddly sentient frogs?
So to touch the mind that far, I'm not actually sure how the Betazoid mind telepathy works.
Me either.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just on the cuff, I'm gonna do a give me an insight and medicine roll.
Okay.
And your difficulty will be 2.
It was not
Ooh.
good.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. How about this? Bubba, how good a shot are you?
Weights are more my thing than phasers.
Right.
But,
Okay. Because what I was thinking was we go in, we shoot the pattern inhibitor, call it good.
I like that thinking. Let's.
Between the 2 of us, we should be able to hit it. And
Tell you what, I will keep him busy. I'll track the attention. You find the inhibitor and take it out.
I like it.
I was actually thinking independently of that Jisa just as a contingency would like to get transporter lock on Yates and the child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me, in order to get the lock, because of the current inhibitor that is there, the difficulty is going to be 3, but you can give me an engineering and daring or control. Either one is fine. If they shoot down the inhibitor, the actual transport will be easier, but this will give you, if you get the lock now, it'll give you advantage to actually do the transport. Make sense?
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, so if I get it now, I get advantage, but I can
Correct.
try again when they take down the inhibitor.
What'll happen is if you get a lock now, you'll get advantage when you go to transport, and the transport itself will be easier. It'll be difficulty 0,
Okay.
really. Once they drop the inhibitor, without them dropping the inhibitor, it's a higher difficulty to actually transport her.
Mhm.
But I'll give you advantage to do it.
So to get the lock, it's a difficulty 3 control engineering.
Correct. Or daring
Okay.
engineering. I'll take either one.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take control engineering because that's 15 total. Okay. Would my electronic warfare focus come into play trying to bypass this inhibitor?
I'd say for the lock, yes. For the transport, no.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so anything under a 4 will count as 2. Do we want to spend this last momentum on this? Is this important enough?
It's a
We-
backup.
No. Well,
Yeah, so we
we'll
might
save
wanna
that
bank
for the
that for
actual
the
transport.
firefight.
Yeah, or the
Yep.
firefight. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, 2 dice. Right, cool. What do we got?
Nice.
Yeah, 2 successes.
All right.
That's not enough.
It's not enough.
Oh well.
So you don't get a firm lock. You have something of a lock, but it's not you're not 100% certain that
Mhm.
lock's going to help you in the long run.
Sure.
So to transport through the inhibitor is going to be difficulty 3 also, which obviously you don't want to do right now, but
No.
all right. With that, you guys are going to go up through the floor and what? You're going to describe the scene for me. The transport is over. Your time is up. You guys can do what you want to do. What are you going to do?
Koba's going to hold up a blue fingers. He's going to go 3, 2, and then he's just going to round the corner and start phasering.
Okay.
Yeah, and Cass is going to be like 1 step behind and angling over to get as good a shot at the transport inhibitors she can get.
Okay. Koba, go ahead and go first. You are the leader of initiative, so you get to go
So
first.
instead of rolling to attack,
Sure.
can
Sure.
I roll to give Jessa advantage on her thing? Since I'm not really even trying to shoot them. I mean, I'm just trying to distract them.
You're laying
So
cover,
that-
basically, right?
Yeah,
And you mean Cass?
yeah, Cass. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a for that. I think because you're trying to intimidate them and trying to get her some advantage. I think that should be presence and security.
Okay. All right. Presence
14s.
plus, yeah, presence plus security. That does succeed.
Okay. Is that 2 or just
No,
1?
it does. I'm sorry, it does not. No, I
Does not.
miscounted. Does neither succeeds.
Okay.
Shit.
So you step around the corner and start firing, and they take cover, but they do not. You're not going to give it advantage, but they definitely take cover, and as they are taking cover for their first action, they will not get a chance to fire back as they are ducking behind stuff. So it's kind of succeeding with a cost. And that'll bring us to Cass.
Let me run this by you. Instead of shooting it, can she just disable it? I'm asking because her engineering is way better than her security.
You could, but it would take longer than it would to shoot it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Let's try the shooting.
Okay.
Control, security, no focus, 2d20s. Spend the momentum? What do you think?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, spent. 3 dice.
2
7, 10,
successes.
and 18. Okay, you hit it. It falls over in a shower of sparks and a sickening droid warble sound that would be made by an R2 unit in another setting.
Blasphemer.
It goes down, and you are 99% sure there is no longer a transport inhibitor. Back at the ship, Jissa, you note on your sensors that the dampener is down, but before you get to act, they get to act one more time. One of them, who is slightly behind cover but not fully, takes a slide out and phasers herself at I'm gonna go ahead and say the blue guy because he's the scary
Yeah.
one right now.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
Blue.
I'm gonna spend 2 threat
Ooh.
for extra dice. Oh well.
Okay, interesting.
That is going to be 2 hits because the 11 hits and the 8 hits. The 13 and the 20 do not.
Do we get a
2.
momentum for that 20?
No, it doesn't work that
No?
way.
No? Okay.
No, yeah, no, it doesn't work that
I thought it did. All right.
way. Anyway, 2 hits, but I get no additional momentum. So this is 3 and a 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6. And you take 1 damage. So you are hit slightly in the shoulder, but it doesn't really even phase you. Although you note that is a burny sensation. That phaser is not set to stun.
Yeah. Fair. I'm gonna quip. You need a bigger gun than that to take down Koba.
At which point either the doctor or Jissa can go.
The doctor is hanging back in the tunnel, maintaining cover and concealment, and currently face palming at Koba's trash talk.
Okay. Jissa, did you want
Yeah,
to?
this should be Jissa.
You could
Yeah.
transport them out as well. The
Yeah, now that the damper is gone.
Well, now that the damper's gone, I think it's easier to transport 1.5 people than 4 people / 6 people, whatever those 2 other non-sensor telepathic entities are.
Well, we should probably ask, is it going to be harder to transport a pregnant woman? Are there any complications inherent in that?
Depends on her state. I'm going to go ahead and say I'll spend, because I already said it was going to be 0, but I will go ahead and spend, I'll spend 2 threat to say it's a difficulty 2 to transport her, and it would be a difficulty, I think it's difficulty 3 to transport them, because to get all 4 of them, it would be difficulty 3.
Mhm.
However, if a complication were to arise for her, it would be far worse than a complication that arises for them.
Yeah.
And the doctor has been pretty clear about
Actually,
she doesn't want her transported until she gets eyes on to make sure she's okay for that.
I'll tell you what, I raised it by 1. I'm going to spend 2 more threat because I have them and I want to burn them up to keep the difficulty as 1, but raise the complication range by 3. By
I love it. I love it. I love it.
By
How
4?
far along is
Jesus
this pregnancy?
Christ.
How far along is this pregnancy?
She is
I'm
within.
fulfilling
She's
the
almost
prophecy
ready to
right now.
pop.
Yeah, within hours or days of giving birth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to just fulfill this prophecy right now and just yank the baby.
Just being the baby out by itself.
It's been done.
Been done. Yeah, has been done.
No, can since we already had sensors on this whole compound, do I know where the enemies are in comparison to where Yates
Yes.
is? Okay.
Yes.
Well, there were 2 people we couldn't detect at all.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
There were two telepathic signatures you could not detect.
So
Yeah.
either we beam out the 4 we can and leave us in there with the victim and 2 invisible assailants, or we take the chance, beam the victim out, and leave us in there with 6 assailants.
It's ultimately just his call. So
Yeah, it is, because she
Yeah.
doesn't know what the hell is
Right.
going on in there.
Right. She doesn't have the awareness
So-
of
And
of the
can't
additional 2
detect
either.
can't detect the additional 2. So yeah,
Mhm.
Right.
it is entirely on her.
I mean, my plan was just to establish a transporter lock, and just so I could yank her whenever things really hit the fan.
Okay.
okay.
Well, there is
Okay.
you're definitely detecting phaser fire, and that is what you've got. There is phaser fire, and the damper is
Right.
down.
Right.
So if you do not wish to take an action, that is fine. You do not have to.
You said difficulty 1. The complication is
Plus 4.
4.
so that's 15 to 20.
Correct.
So
Oh,
how does that
man.
work
Oh.
if your success range falls in that 15 to 20? So like if your success range is a 15 or a 16,
You
and
succeed
transport
with the complication.
succeeds, but
With the
you get the
okay.
complication.
Yeah.
got you.
I mean, I really want to do it.
Whatever you, I mean, if it's a bad call, if it ends up being a bad call, then you pay for it.
Yep.
So, which is interesting story-wise. I'm not saying not.
Yeah,
To.
and
Yeah.
Jace is
No,
not going to
no.
know that there's anything other than the plan is working.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Screw it. No, I'm doing it. The
That is the
GM
right
in me,
call.
in me has to do it.
Yeah,
I have
Right.
to do it.
yeah.
All
I
right.
cannot forfeit all of this narrative.
Remembering that you
Oh.
have no momentum at the moment. So
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna buy some with threat.
Well, don't buy
Because-
don't buy too many because more dice means more chances for complications.
it does.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
And your difficulty is only 1.
Difficulty
Yeah,
is
I
only
would
1.
I would
Difficulty is
say
only
don't
1.
even buy. Don't even buy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, this is a secondary character, so she doesn't have any determination to spend, right?
Nope.
All right. So this is just
Straight
2
roll.
dice. Just a straight roll.
2 dice and the fate
okay.
of the galaxy.
All right, let's go. Come on, G-Sug. Yes. Yes.
All right.
Love it.
Oh!
Yanking that baby right out.
Okay. So
Well-
you initiate the transport, and we will cut back to the DS9.
Love it.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to end it right there.
Yeah, that's a perfect beat.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, that is a perfect beat down.
This is going to be so horrible.
Okay.
Oh, that could not have worked better.
I know.
Cool.
All right.
Could we do one last thing before we end the session?
Sure. What's that?
Could I check his room, Shakar's? I said I was going to do that when he left.
I think that we should wait till next session.
Okay, never mind then.
I think that's a good place to actually start to actually start next session, because then we don't have to jump right back into the what happened to the baby. Delay gratification even longer.
So we're waiting on this combat too to finish, because we're still in the room with 6 people.
Yeah, no, I've got a couple pace. I've got it in my head. I've got it paced where I can do you infiltrating the room, the combat, and there's something that's going to happen on the station that we can get into.
Okay.
So I'll pace it out for all 3.
I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, for not having a real good plan, this worked out really well for me.
That was great.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So let's start with what moment stands out most to you this evening?
Okay. Easy one for me. The captain and the first officer, their first conversation.
Sure.
Could not have revealed
Yeah,
character.
that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I
That
liked
was
the
good.
tension there.
Yeah. They've got very different styles. You could tell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
I mean, my favorite moment is this one that just happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Evelyn, you got one? No.
Yeah, I like everything that was talked about. The captain, the first officer, the cliffhanger. I also liked the conversation between Eva and Cass, and it sounded almost a little bit like Eva's kind of plotting. At least that's how it read to me. Like, how can I become more?
And I think we need to talk to Eva about holographic rights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You lesser beings.
Inferior beings.
Okay. I've got 2.
Okay.
First is I really liked the first one. I know it's gauche to give one to yourself, but I like Kova, and I'm already in love with him, and I'm going to enjoy playing him, I think.
He is fun.
I like the braggadocio.
Mhm.
He's a machismic or bullion. It's perfect. And then I also really liked Cass's conversation with the science team. That felt really procedural and cool, and I liked that whole scene. I was very disappointed I couldn't be a part of it, but that's just the way it crumbles. It was a good scene though.
I will say, actually, I did really enjoy the scene with Mills and Yezebeth talking with the Bajorans outside the temple,
Yeah.
because I think that too really showed a lot about the characters. And man, I was Picard face palming so hard there.
Yes.
You'll do that a lot with Evelyn. She's snarky.
Because in Ambrose's mind, he was like, okay, I'm reading Yezbeth here. I know she's probably not going to be great with people, so I'm going to politely suggest that she stick to research. No, okay, I'm just going to have to be more assertive about commands. All right.
She researched. You didn't specify how she should research.
I didn't specify not to talk to people.
I will say she did accomplish her goal.
She did.
Oh.
We did a great job of information gathering.
Yeah. Can't say we didn't do it.
Exactly.
Didn't. Yep. So who best embodied their character?
I think Cass. I think Cass did a lot of good stuff.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
What role playing moment best exemplified someone else's character to you? I like. I think I would go with the doctor asserting herself in that we're not beaming this person up. We're just let's just take the shuttle. It's fine. I like that.
I think the scene we were talking about with the captain and the XO, Ambrose especially. Ambrose really showed who he was to the captain, and that's going to have long-term effects.
Yeah, that's your first introduction. So,
I think the Ambrose and all of the diplomacies he's doing. I was not expecting. I wasn't expecting this level of diplomacy out of Ambrose. I really, in my head, when we were talking about it in the pregame stuff, he was more like I'm gonna punch things or shoot things because I'm a war dude. And I
But you haven't
really
seen Ambrose go to war.
right.
Well, you did
He's
leap
been
off
in the
of a.
boardroom.
You know, I think those two scenes with the second minister and the first minister together
Mm-hmm.
really connected that whole arc.
But,
of,
Yeah.
but if you put
This is a soldier who is his father's son.
Yeah.
that's
And-
exactly it.
Yep.
And
I'm-
I really like not to talk too much about myself here. I really like the juxtaposition between those diplomatic scenes and me jumping off the catwalk because somebody pushed his
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that exemplifies exactly who Ambrose is.
Anybody else have one? I think was that everybody.
I think that's everybody.
I think
Okay. What motivated your character during this session, and how have his motivations changed during the session? We'll start with Brian.
I think
There doesn't have to necessarily be anything.
I think Koba. I think as much as he is machismic and like he knew it wasn't best for him to like do the shooting, and he left that to somebody else. He knew what he was good at, and stuck to his role. And I think that I think that's something I want to lean into with him.
Cool.
Yeah.
And for Kaz, there's a really precise moment, and because her first reaction was, I mean, she avoided the war. She was, she's a scientist. She's a first contact specialist. She's like old school traditional Starfleet. And just hearing on that bridge, oh, we're going to step in all that Bajor and then when the captain said, hey, but we've got cool sensors. She was like, yes, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I think Dasavi's biggest goal right now, what's motivating her, is getting this pregnant woman out safely and in a way that is hopefully not going to start a war
Okay.
or further a war.
Right. Any Jack, you got one?
I'm just gonna whistle that one away. Um,
Evelyn's other crew has a tendency to start wars, so
Just the captain, really.
yeah.
No, today for Ambrose has been a lot of that internal conflict that he was talking to Shakar about, the transition from soldier, from hopeful diplomat to soldier, back to hopeful diplomat. And I'm sure you picked up the common phrases, if I may be so bold, or this isn't my focus, this isn't my area of expertise. I think that's definitely him trying to figure out how good at this he actually is.
Right.
Trying to play himself down and see if it actually works.
Right. I dig it. What did you or your character learn today, if anything? This can be the person learning something about another player or character. It doesn't have to be something in game. It can be in or out of game.
I learned that our pilot's a little reckless and doesn't listen to her doctor.
A pilot being reckless?
Right? I know. Never heard of it.
An Andorian pilot being reckless, unheard of.
Yeah, unheard of. Who would have thought it? Anybody else got one for that?
Jorad learned that Aurani is closed off. Like, yeah, he thinks he might even be a little paranoid.
And Ambrose learned that Jurad is way too open.
If you can't trust your bridge crew, who can you trust?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is it's not like it's in front of the grand gallery, it's just the bridge crew.
Yeah, sure.
Good idea, bad idea. And there's only, to me, there's only one of these.
Hello.
Yeah. I think that one's unanimous.
I agree. Yep.
I'm going to see how many episodes in a row I can maintain both the good and bad idea in one event. Because that's me. That's all me.
What did you see from another player, or what did you see from another player that you want to see more of in the future? I personally am looking forward to seeing a lot more of the interaction between the captain and the first officer, because I really want to see how that tension plays out.
Mhm. I liked seeing Dasavi take charge. I thought that was really cool. I wasn't you don't see the Doctor do that very often, but yeah, I liked it.
It gave me an idea too. I think it's nice to have I think the Doctor shouldn't have the command, the bridge command certificate yet, which is something I'll
Okay.
talk to you about. I think that would be interesting because Beverly had it, so she was actually a commander, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to have the command of people outside your department. So I think that's an interesting thing we can think about in the future to way to play that in story.
Jorad would definitely be able to help you with that.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I like kind of like all encompassing. I like the initiative that I'm seeing from all of you with starting and furthering scenes. That's something that I think is lacking in some of our other games.
Yeah,
And I mean, and myself included. Like I'll have a scene here or there that I'm like, okay, I really want to do this scene, but when it comes to impromptu, I'm not good at initiating. All right, I want my character to do this.
I think we've come together as a group in terms of reading each other and playing off each other incredibly quickly. My game, it took probably 6 episodes before we started being able to read where the other one was going and playing into it.
Yeah, especially for a group of gamers that doesn't, like, I don't know any of you people.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
does,
being able to roll in and play off each other like that is really good for a group of folks who don't really know each other.
Yeah, I think that that questionnaire helped a lot.
Yeah.
So I will say that I've been gaming with the group that plays the Lexington game for a really long time, but that group is much more reactionary and much less takes much less initiative. So I'm with Evelyn on that one. I have to give full kudos to everybody. I am really happy with the amount of initiative you guys are taking, and I mean, you can always take more, but I'm all for it because it's helping flesh out scenes like all the stuff with Eva so far. None of that has been anything that I've initiated. That's all.
I've really enjoyed Eva scenes.
Yeah,
and I like them. Eva. And it gives me an opportunity to build in a story in my own head for what that character, what Eva is doing, and to see how you guys interact with it. So I really do appreciate you guys stepping up and having those moments, and creating your own story. I think that for me is a lot of. We talk about player driven a lot in a lot of stuff, and I think this really is genuinely player driven at that point, and I think that's really good. Anybody else have anything that they want to see from another player, or anything else they want to see more of?
It didn't come up too much actually at all yet, but I am really looking forward to more Ambrose and Yezebeth scenes, because I think there could be some really cool interactions there that we've just scraped the surface with. And we didn't see too much of Dr. Marr today, which is a shame, because I really enjoyed the back and forth with Ambrose and Marr.
I think we'll see more of him at dinner. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting dinner.
The other one that I had for wanting to see more of is I'm interested to see how Cass fits into the command dynamic. I think that we've got we have the captain and the first officer who have their very distinctive personalities, but here we have a second officer who I think is different enough from those two that could also be a point of interesting contention. So.
Yeah, I like the dynamic. I like Jorad and Cass's dynamic. Like, we indicated that they were patrons, but that could have meant nothing. But we've really those two have chemistry with each other.
Yeah, they really do.
And so putting a second officer between them is going to cause tension. He trusts Cass more than he trusts his XO.
Right.
Probably. We haven't quite gotten to where we see that. But that's a very big possibility, and I don't know what that'll do.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic between the upper part of the command crew, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of that.
I'm hoping Cass gets some time with Jissa too, because I would imagine they've probably got different takes on Andorian culture, and that could be something rich to explore.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
All right, if you could change one thing about this session, what would it be?
I got one.
Sure.
Yezebeth is going to try and get out of everything. I would love to see more people trying to get her to do stuff. Because I'll go, she'll drag her feet, but I as a player want to be dragged in. So things will change for her. I'm not planning on her keep staying this way forever, but that's kind of. I don't want. I would love to see more people let her get. I would love to see her get out of things less. That's all I'm saying.
More people holding her feet to the fire.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would have my side characters a little better, a better idea of who they are. I put a lot of work into figuring out who Dasavi is, and kind of lost my momentum when I got to Mills and O'Connor.
To be fair,
and
I put a lot of burden on you guys. It's a lot of secondary characters. So continue though. Go ahead.
I think I actually flipped their physical descriptions, because O'Connor should be the redhead, and Mills should be the dark-haired, but whatever. But yeah, like knowing who they are and how they interact and their thoughts and feelings, and I mean, Mills like kind of winged it. So I learned today that Mills is annoyed with the Bajorans and their lack of gratitude.
Right. A little bit of Evelyn in there.
Yeah,
Try to get me the photos for the characters, and I think that'll help you and me both a lot. So, because I think yours and John's characters, I think, are the only ones I'm missing some of.
If you give me names, I'm happy to Photoshop more. So
Yeah, I have everything, but I think I need to send you all the bigger ones.
Yeah, that's fine.
I sent you the bigger Mar.
Yeah. Oh, did you send me a bigger Mar? Oh, well, yeah.
I'll just send the whole batch again.
Just send the whole batch again, and I'll get them in there. So
yeah.
That's my plan for this week. I was in pain all of last week, so I did like fuck all.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I had a minor procedure and was recovering, and
Well, I hope the recovery is swift and easy.
it is. Yeah, it's getting a lot better. I'm actually able to sit upright today.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So,
John or Jack, do you guys have anything that you want to change? That you would change?
I would say, as much as everyone seemed to have enjoyed that back and forth between the commander and the captain, I don't know if I was completely satisfied with how I played that out. And I know if Ambrose could go back and change how that went, Ambrose would have done that differently.
Sure.
So, I mean, I'd like to know, what would you have wanted to change if you could, so that way we can do it better next time.
I don't think it's a issue of trying to do it better next time. I just think I'm still in roleplay mode. I'm still speaking as Ambrose, and it takes me a while to get out of character mode.
Sure.
And I know Ambrose, after being so diplomatic with the ministers, then to have a conversation with somebody who is to him much more important and have it sort of get away from him.
Sure.
He doesn't like that. I think he was originally caught off guard. One, having to meet his superior officer light years away on a vid screen. Two, to have that conversation in front of the bridge crew and a bunch of people he doesn't know. And
see, I think where you're going with it, I think it's a really good moment to grasp onto, though, because I think by having all that, the character has been caught off guard, and now he has to make up for the failing that he feels he's had in this in interaction. I think that's going to be a good moment to roleplay in the future.
I would say the second impression that the captain gets is probably going to be significantly different than the first impression, and we'll see what kind of difference that makes.
I'll see if I can muck it up for you.
Right.
Let me ask you a question as far as like what you want. Do you want Jorad to be more slow to warm up to him, or would you rather him be a little more understanding on their second encounter? Is either one of those more interesting to you?
I mean, I think you should just play the character that you designed to make.
Sure.
I'm gonna let you roll with it as you would.
John, did you have anything you wanted to change about the session?
I really don't.
Okay. My one thing I would change that I don't think I mentioned is I think I said it before we even started recording. I would very much like to have had a better plan coming into this, but I'm glad it worked out the way it did. So
It was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that falls on what we were all saying about how we're playing together. I don't know that you need all that much of a plan. We can run with it.
Well, a lot of it is that I don't know, like when I first started out the session today, like I couldn't figure out how to tie all the characters. I couldn't figure out how to tie what's going on with Shakar to what's going on with this to what's going on with that. I didn't have a connection. I found the connection while we were playing because of something one of you guys said. I don't remember what it was, but I found the connection. I'm like, all right, I can run with that. So
was it the prophecy or the orb thing?
The orbs impacting people?
I think it might have been. Well, I already had the orbs kind of being there, but I didn't really have it all kind of fleshed out, you know? Because like I said, this is all based. What's that?
So it feels connected.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm working hard to connect it all. These are all based on books I've actually never read.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's the Avatar and stuff like that. I just picked up some memory beta, and I just wanted to have some kind of fleshed out. Like, I wanted to establish the story in a place that we all were familiar with, rather than jumping into the Shackleton Expanse and being where no one has gone before. I wanted to get the characters introduced with somewhat familiar surroundings, and I thought DS9 was the best way to do that. So, I have nothing else. Anybody got anything else?
No.
Honestly, I was a little skeptical about the DS9 setup to begin with, but now I'm all in because I think it does exactly what you're saying. Is it gives us as players and it gives the characters a chance to show themselves
right
in a more conventional way to some degree.
The characters aren't competing with the setting right now.
Yeah.
You're not competing with the new things that are coming in. It's if we all know DS9, we all know the characters that revolve. I mean, we might know exactly the characters, but we understand the setting of DS9 and we understand the Bajorans and the conflict. So it's just that's all just a backdrop for you guys to be able to introduce characters that we otherwise wouldn't have.
Yeah. I think it's a really, really good call. I was not seeing it at first.
Yeah,
it's working. Yeah,
I appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and roll the credits.
All right, great game.
Yeah,
absolutely.